rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button will tell me where you at. You know, step from the NBK. Wanna raised up NBK. Hey, real lady where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
What?
Don't so.
What?
You're so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knicks family, and welcome to another edition of listen. It's an early edition of Just Knickin' It show because this Thursday we usually do our show on Thursday. This Thursday is July 4th, so I don't know if we're gonna be doing a show. Just in case we don't do one, you get a little bonus. You get one. If we do one on Thursday, then that's a little extra in the bag. But we start early, of course, because there's a lot of Knicks news, a lot of things always happening in News Nation. In Knicks News Nation, in Knicks Nation, always happening in Knicks Nation, and we're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about it, and shout out to the chat. I know you guys are gonna come in, and you guys are gonna have wild ideas, but today we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do with this team. And just so you know, the front office does watch our show, okay? Because a lot of times they follow what we tell them to do, they take our advice, and today's no different. So let me bring in Queen, and Queen is somewhere.
There we go.
Okay, Queen and Geoff, salute to you guys. What's up? What's up? And shout out to the chat, man. Building blocks already in the house. Angel Torres, Lady and the Chef. Lady and the Chef. Lady and the Chef, why are you not on this panel? Why are you not on this panel? You need to be
right. Exactly.
JM 3000. What's up? So tough love. Salute to tough love. The first one to post something in the chat, man. Shout out to that.
Yeah. So Lady and the Chef, you're welcome anytime, and I'm still waiting for that invite.
For real.
To the show. All right.
Yeah.
Go.
So
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, as we know, free agency just started, and there's a lot of pieces flying all over the place. The news is coming. Even though day one, it wasn't as hot as it usually is, but there was still a couple of big news that dropped. There wasn't no crazy Walsh bomb or anything like that, but there was a few noteworthy transactions, so to speak. And today we're going to talk about all that, but of course, we're mostly gonna focus on the Knicks because that's the only team that really matters. Everybody, we talk about the other ones because they're like kind of in the same league in the NBA, so we have to talk about them. But it's all about the Knicks, and of course, we're gonna talk about what happened. Right? We lost Isaiah Hartenstein, and Queen had a show earlier, and Queen. I started listening to the show, but when you told me we're going on tonight, I stopped listening because I didn't want to know what you said. So I'll go back later and listen to it. That way I'm not, I don't let what happened on that show kind of affect me over here. Right. So let's start with that. Okay. Isaiah Hartenstein signed a massive contract. Well, massive for what he was making compared to what he was making. All right. So he's going to be making on average $29 million a year for 3 years with the OKC Thunder. Right. Did I get that right? Something like that. And congratulations to iHeart. We heart iHeart because we really appreciate what he did for us. But unfortunately, this was just way out of our league. We just could not afford that kind of salary. We couldn't have done anything about that, so we had to let him go. Okay, so shout out to iHeart and thank you for your services. And you can always hold a special place in our hearts because last season was a tremendous season. And if you're a Knicks fan, we've had some rough years, and last season was one of the better ones we've had in a long time. And but what do we do, right? We lost iHeart. We kind of knew we was going to lose him. But what do we do? Okay. So, Queen, I'll start with you. I don't want to give my opinion first. I'll let Lady go first. You're the Queen. You're the lady on the panel. You go first.
Well, first, I just want to echo your sentiments about Isaiah Hartenstein and just when Mitchell Robinson went down, there was like a collective holding up the breath, in terms of what would our season be like without him given the start that he had. And Isaiah stepped in, and those first few games was rough. I'm not going to gloss over that. Those first few games he was the starting center. I'm like, I don't know, but he rounded into shape, and then we got better, particularly when we got OG. You know, as a team, we got better, and I think that also helped Hartenstein as well. And it was just good just to see him blossom. And I was just excited about our offense. Without RJ Barrett here, with Devo in that starting lineup, with Isaiah Hartenstein in the starting lineup, you began to see what was possible for our offense. And I was one who didn't have any problems with Brunson going one on one, creating shots for other people. If you can remember, no problems with Randall doing what he doing. Everybody was talking about, oh, pass the ball around, pass the ball. I'm like, look, we winning games. I'm good. But when Devo got in that starting lineup and Hartenstein got in that starting lineup, and you saw the ball movement and you saw the cutting, and everyone on the team seemed to have a good basketball IQ on the offensive end, seemed to understand the game, the way they played off of each other. It was just beautiful to watch. And so for me, the thought of Hartenstein leaving wasn't about iHeart himself particularly. It was just more about, man, what style of basketball are we going to play on the offensive end without him? Will we be able to replace him, as a backup to Mitch with somebody with that skill set so that at some points in the game we can still play that style? And we'll talk about it more as we go along. That's kind of where I'm at. I think the options are slim, as someone said, in the chat. But I think that's what I'm going to miss about him, just how he helped our offense become a bit more dynamic. But OKC knew that to pull him away from the Knicks, they were going to have to come huge, um, and they did, and they did. I'm not paying any center in today's game $29 million, but if he's the finishing piece, um, yeah, they felt like that's something that they needed to do.
Yeah, we could not have paid him that kind of money anyway. So not that even if we wanted to, we just couldn't pay him that kind of money. Geoff, how do you feel about Isaiah Hartenstein leaving?
Well, I'm gonna miss him. He was fantastic, like just beyond all expectations. I think a lot of people thought he was going to be good. I'm not sure anybody really thought he was going to be that good. I mean, here's a guy who came from a backup center to a top 10 center in pretty much one season. That's remarkable. And now he's making more money than Jalen Brunson next year. Think about that. Think about that for a minute. But it's just a situation where if you're a team, small market team like the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's the biggest contract they've ever handed out in team history.
Oh,
They don't get free agents there very often. So I think they're in a similar situation to us. They said the time is now. Next year, they're going to have extensions for SGA and some other folks. So they're not really going to ever have that cap space again. And so I think they said, is it a bit of an overpay? Yes, but let's get them in the door. We've got, we can re-sign Joe and Wiggins. We can go over the cap to sign those two. We've got the Caruso extension next year. We've got a lot of different, irons in the fire coming forward. But this is our chance. We were the top seed in the West last year, and we struggled against a team that had height. That the Dallas crushed them on the boards and inside. That's why they lost that series. And so, if you're able to get a top 10 center, and then you pair that with Caruso plus everything else that they've already had, I think you can make the argument that they're the favorites to win the West next year. And that's Dallas added Clay, so I have to think about that a little bit more before I stick with that declaration. But so for him, it hurts to lose him. But what I like is here's a player that developed within the Knicks organization and went from a guy making $8 million a year to a guy who quadrupled his salary. And I think our coaching staff has to get some of the credit for that, for working with him and and I think you even heard that in his own words when he was on the Roommates podcast. He really spoke highly of Coach Thibodeau and what he was able to do and instill in him and teach him and mold him and make him into an even better player than he was with the Clippers. And so, I think from a developmental standpoint, I think that really speaks highly of what we're doing here. And here's a guy, in his own words, he didn't really want to leave, but it's tough. You're talking about double the salary. I mean, he's making $30 million. We can only pay him 16. I don't know anybody who's going to choose the 16 over the 30. Look, I'm a Knick fan for life, but if someone offered me double the amount of money, and that is life-changing money, plus it's Oklahoma, where it's really like triple the money because he's not having to pay tax, he's not having to pay state tax. He's so he's getting to keep a much larger chunk of that much larger amount, and so that he has a new baby, they're new family. It's completely understandable. I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's got his bag. And it's just a hole that's going to be tough for this team to fill. And I'm not really sure how we're going to do it.
Geoff, listen, man, if he had left that money on the table, I'd look at him funny. I'd be like, man, something ain't right with that dude.
You're right.
Now, the Knicks would be under investigation.
For real.
He was making it up some other way, or his family was making it up some other way.
Yep. But so what bothered me the most, and I fully understand, I agree with iHeart. He's got to go get that money. You know what I'm saying? You're young. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen next season or the season after. You don't know how long your NBA career is going to be. So get as much money as you can while you're doing it, right? I think I've mentioned on our channel here, this is like probably the first off season where I would be like 100% comfortable with running it back. And that's really the only attachment I had to, I mean, beside everything you guys mentioned, like how he affected our team, how he made our team better, how he played, Queen, as you mentioned. But I really wanted to run this back with the addition of the guys we missed, not really adding anybody, but the guys who weren't healthy when we were making a deep run in the play or trying to make a deep run in the playoffs. I wanted to see what that looks like. And we added Mikal Bridges. So basically from last year's team, we weren't just adding Mikal Bridges. We're going to be adding Julius Randle. We're hopefully adding healthy OG Anunoby and a healthy Mitchell Robinson. I wanted to see what that looked like. But you know what? It is what it is. It's a business. This happens literally every summer in the league, where the pieces get moved around and teams, they change face, they change rosters. And let's see what happens next season. So if you're in the front office, like, what do you do at this point?
I think they're scouring for trades. Oh, go ahead, Geoff.
Trades? Yeah, let
that Geoff go.
Go ahead, Queen. It's all right.
No. Ajay is the
all right. I don't. We were talking a little bit before the show. I don't see a ton of options out there, but sometimes there are moves out there that none of us see coming too. So it may be one of those. Trade options. Maybe we don't have a lot of assets that we can move. There is, sign and trade possibility for Alec Burks or Precious Achiuwa. There's the possibility of just bringing back Precious Achiuwa. Some people are bigger fans of that than others. I know he's more of a power forward than he is a true center, but he's at least durable. Um, he played, I think, in 74 games last year, which is a pretty good amount. Um, you know, and there's not a lot of guys out there who I just look at and I'm just like, yeah, that's someone I definitely want to add. Batadze was one of them, and I guess Queen said before the show she saw that he re-signed with Orlando. I think keep tabs on Mo Wagner and Wendell Carter Jr. because I don't know if the Magic are interested in keeping all three of those guys.
Mhm.
So if one of those guys shakes loose, I think that's probably a good idea to look into. I would kick the tires on Walker Kessler and see how willing the Jazz are to move him and what the price point would be there. Uh, Xavier Tillman is a name that I think you'd at least have to do your due diligence on. I mean, he played for the Celtics. I don't know if Mitch went down. I don't know if I really envisioned him starting and playing a bunch of minutes and being really good for us. But again, you're talking about bottom of the barrel beggars can't be choosers. Probably still better than Jericho Sims, kind of options at this point. So I don't see a whole lot out there. So maybe Queen has better ideas than I do.
Yeah, I don't. But Batazi, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is somebody I liked. I like Mo Wagner. I like anybody who can make a pass, and keep our offense more dynamic so that you can't double team any of the other guys. Now, can they operate in a double team? Absolutely. Listen, the first year Brunson was here, we started Mitchell Robinson. Brunson did fine. Randall did fine. They didn't have the greatest space. Remember, we had RJ Barrett in that lineup, and they still figured it out. And I believe they will do it this time as well. I'm just looking if we can get a center coming off the bench that you can't lay off of just to make it easier for them a little bit. And I don't know who that player is. Um, Mo Wagner, I mean, he's all around. I don't know how he is defensively though. Um, and do you need to be great defensively with Mikel and OG? Probably not, but is he a good rebounder? Um, is Nick Richards available from Charlotte? I think I heard some of that early before free agency started that he might be an option for the Knicks. I'm not sure how great he is offensively. He can definitely rebound and block shots, but as far as passing is concerned, I'm not that sure about that. And as we talked about before the show, what do the Knicks have left in a trade? Right? I know we do have a trade player exception that we can use. I'm not sure. Do you kick the tires on Wiseman? And what are you expecting of him? Maybe because he's on a veteran team or a really good team, young veteran team, he doesn't have to do much. Somebody mentioned Kevin Looney. I don't know if he's available, but these are not guys that's going to help offensively, but if Mitchell Robinson was to miss some games, you can start them. And I think that's what the Knicks have to be looking at. Who can we get that can give you some spot starts? Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I just said. 'Cause I think the Knicks are just in a tight bind, and you have to think they've had contingency plans, right? You have to think that they knew this was a possibility.
Yeah, I agree, Queen, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna, the next few days. Hopefully, it doesn't take weeks because we Knicks fans we very impatient. Hopefully, the next couple of days we're gonna find out where the contingency plans were. Um, Honestly, I have no problem. In fact, I would like us to resign Precious Achua. Queen, I like Precious because not because he's a great player, but because he can back up the 4 or the 5. We need somebody who's got that versatility. Okay, not there's a couple of guys you mentioned. Did you guys mention Wiseman? Probably wouldn't be would be another good idea, even though he's young. But you just need somebody to grab rebounds. Um, I think Precious Achua, like he gave us some really good minutes, some really good games this season. He's already in the system. He adjusted. He's learning the system, but he's done pretty good. When he was asked to play, I think he delivered most of the time. So I would rely on him to in the interest of continuity. We like continuity when it's convenient, but we don't mention that when it's, I don't know. Last year that was like everybody was talking about that, but this season, no, this off season, nobody's talking about that. I think it's very important if we I mean he's only been here a few months, but he's been in the trenches with the guys, and he was called on to play a lot of minutes when we had a lot of bodies go down, and he delivered a lot of time, many times he delivered. I think if he could, he could be part of training camp, we'll probably get a much more productive season out of him. So I favor signing Precious Achua. Doesn't mean we can't grab somebody off the market or the buyout market or whatever free agent market, whatever's available. If we could get a 7-footer up here, because unfortunately we kind of expect Mitch to go down at some point during the season, or even if he doesn't go down, we expect him to not play a lot of minutes. So we probably will need like a big body to put in there. But I think a lot of teams, I don't want to say most teams because I haven't really looked at it. A lot of teams, we could probably go small ball. We could probably have Precious start 5 and do an excellent job with most teams in the NBA. Okay, certain teams you can't have a lower, or even if we put Julius Randle at the 5, some of those teams. And I'm not talking about spot minutes. I'm talking about that's your starting lineup, Julius Randle at the 5. Some teams you could probably I see. Well,
I didn't mean to cut you off. No,
but
just
I mean, I see what Jerrell is saying, but that's kind of what I'm saying also. Like I would go for Wiseman because some teams you do need a big body. You can't, but some, like I said, some other teams you'll be able to do well with just the small guys that we have. You can go small and beat them. But the positive you got to look at with iHeart leaving is now we have a little money to play with, right? We have a little money to play with.
Not much.
Yeah,
a little is right.
Yeah,
that's the operative word.
Yeah. So we're not going to get an all-star here, but we should be able to sign Precious Achua and get one of these other guys that we're talking about. We'll have enough to do that.
I just don't think Precious is a 5. Can he play spot 5 minutes? Yes, he can. But if he's your only center and Mitch misses,
but that's one of the advantages, though, that because he can play he's really a 4. He's a backup 4, but he can play the 5 when you need it.
But what I'm trying to say is, but there's a difference between there's a difference, like Mitchell Robinson is starting, right? And you bring Precious in for spot minutes and spot starts, maybe one game or two. But if Mitchell Robinson, let's say, was to miss significant time, I think Precious would get overpowered. I've seen him at the 5 position. There's no rim protection. Get overpowered. Not a great rebounder. I just don't see him playing significant time at the 5 if Mitch was to go down. A spot start here and there, yeah. But let's say Mitch misses 20 games. I don't feel comfortable with Precious starting for 20 games. But we may not have a choice. That's just me. Jeff, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we,
Go
we
ahead,
don't know
F.
what the front office, we don't know what they got cooking. They always have something up their sleeves, and so far they haven't been they haven't disappointed us. So I'm gonna trust that they got something coming. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that both of you just made. Is that they I think just from looking backwards and kind of reading the reporting, and then I think the Knicks kind of did know that this was out there and that they weren't going to be bringing back Isaiah. So, and I think that Leon Rose has definitely earned the benefit of the doubt with everything else that he's done uh, in his tenure here to kind of give him a chance to let things play themselves out because he's done a good job for the most part. Has he made some mistakes? Yes, but I mean, I think he found Hartenstein and Brunson in one season. I mean, that's probably the greatest free agent haul in the history of the organization for sure, and one of the best of all time, in my opinion. So, um, yeah, I'm not crazy about Wiseman. I know I mean, the Golden State Warriors had him in their system for 2 years, and they cut bait on him. And the Pistons are desperately in need of talent, and they were willing to let him go too. And they're like the worst team in the NBA. So I'm not like I get it. He's taller, but does that mean that he's better? I mean, what have we seen from James Wiseman in his career so far that says, oh yeah, this guy belongs on the court for a team that's trying to vie for a championship? I and maybe that's being harsh, and maybe that's being short-sighted. There's a line of reasoning maybe that well, Hartenstein wasn't Hartenstein until Tibs got a hold of him. I don't necessarily believe that. I think Hartenstein kind of showed in his time with the Clippers that that potential was kind of there. And yes, Thibodeau got it out of him, but I haven't really seen the same thing from Wiseman. I didn't watch a lot of Pistons games this year though, so maybe I'm off base here. But if he was performing that well, I would think a talent storage team like Detroit would have held on to him. So I guess I'm just not that high on Wiseman. I think I'd rather have Tillman than Wiseman if we're going to go with that kind of a player. A reclamation project, if you will, and I don't think we need a project here. You know what I mean? I think we need someone who we can put in and give us dependable minutes right away. And so I'm not. I guess I'm just not sold on Wiseman, but that probably means he'll come here and do great because I always seem to be wrong about these things. So maybe that's a good sign for Wiseman. I don't know.
Yo, shout
Yeah, I
out to
mean,
Wiz BKLA in the chat talking about trading Randall, with 4-team trade and like all kind of craziness. Wiz, come on, man, come on, brother, you better than that, man. Anybody talk about it, especially right? So we just lost a big. This guy's talking about getting rid of more bigs just to get, I don't know, other guys here who don't know the system. Like Julius Randle's been here how many years? He already know the system. You're not bringing nobody here to learn the new system and think you're gonna win anything, man. All right. So please stop the madness.
Stop the madness,
not
or we're going to
just
start
that.
talking about trading Duce.
For real.
Right, right.
That's the deal with trade Julius Randle, but Deuce will go with him. Let me know if you agree to that one. We'll make the money work.
Yeah, and this is the thing. OG, who's the guy you're going to after Brunson? Proven. Who's proven? OG, he's working his way into being a go-to guy. Mikal Bridges was that for, Brooklyn. Is he ready to be a number two behind Randall? Are you trying, we have championship aspirations. Who are you trading Randall for? Like we need this guy even more now, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without iHeart. Even more. So who was he talking? I didn't see the
Wiz.
The comment. Who was he trying to trade Randall for?
Man, like some. Let me
That's
find
okay.
it.
Wiz, put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Who you
No.
um
Wiz. How about you give us? How about you jump on the on the panel, man?
right. If you can
This is
somehow
this
get
is this
Towns.
is this is
Oh,
Wiz.
okay. Okay.
A multi-team trade using Randall, Mitch, Detroit, Washington picks for Kuzma marketing.
I'm not. I like marketing. I don't like him
and,
for the Knicks.
and
In
I
a
like
vacuum,
and I like
marketing.
Kuzma. I like Kuzma. I don't like him for the Knicks.
Yeah, I don't like marketing. To me, it's just not. Offensively, I think he's good, but defensive, rebounding, yeah, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not sold on marketing.
So
Um,
if you pull a trade like this, then it's a new team. It take a couple of years for this team to get their stuff together.
I don't. I don't know about years, Ajay, but I think it would take some time.
Yeah. I mean, we got a all-star, all NBA guy giving us 20, 10, and 5, and we want to get rid of him. This is I
Well,
just
who's
can't
playing the
understand.
5 if we give up Randall and Mitch for Kuzma and Markin?
Right.
We
I
don't
guess
have a
I
we don't
guess
have a 5 on the roster.
no. He also mentioned that we should bring Duran and develop him. That's also part of the thing, to bring Duran to develop him. So yeah,
Doran is not under contract.
I
He's not under
everybody
contract with Detroit.
they all
He
under contract.
is.
So marketing's under contract. So is Kuzma. So Wiz, I mean, he's talking about a 4-team trade here to try to pry people away. I mean, it's just I don't know. This Wiz, yeah, that I don't think that would work.
I don't know. I just think Randall is our biggest ace in the hole. He's our advantage. When we get him back with that gravity that he has, I think that's being completely underestimated right now. The amount people are forgetting the amount of easy looks that Jalen Brunson gets because Julius Randle commands the double team and he passes it out to a wide open Brunson, who is one of the best catch and shoot 3-point guys in the league. And he was getting probably 4 of those looks a game and hitting about half of them. And then when Randall went down, he was getting 0 of those looks. You know, that kind of gravity, is not easy to replace, and it's exactly what this team needs. Like, it's why they were so good in the month of January. All of it clicked because Randall and Brunson and the people that were surrounding him, you figure Bridges and Dante and OG, all those guys are good 3-point shooters, and you just get them easy looks at the back, easy looks, catch and shoot looks wide open. This isn't the Knicks from 2 years ago when we lost to the Heat and nobody on the team could shoot. We've got a lot of good shooters on this team now, and Randall is the best way to unlock them. And we missed that playoff time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Brunson's going to get wide open shots. Let's not forget, Mikal Bridges going to get wide open shot. OG Anunoby in the corner, where he shoots a very high percentage of those corner threes, going to get some open shots. DiVincenzo, who's like one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA at this point, is going to get a lot of wide open shots. Why? I mean, we do need Randall to commend those double team and triple team sometimes. The only down, like and I'm glad because he mentioned he's been watching a lot of films. Hopefully that helps him with the basketball IQ and help reduce his turnovers. Because if he could keep the turnovers low, man, like we will not have problem on the offensive on offense.
Even if I think I don't even think he averaged 3. Even 3 turnovers a game, we still gonna be better with them. Even if he averages 3 turnovers a game, we still gonna be good
And
with
oh, by the
Randall.
way,
He is,
that
Mhm.
go ahead.
He's our second best player. Period. Point blank. Hard stop. You can say what you want about OG. You can say what you want about Mikal Bridges. It remains to be seen. I do think those guys will be better. I think either one of them have potential to be all-star players, but right now, it's Brunson, Randall in the pecking order.
Absolutely,
But
100%.
we saw from last year too, one of the things that made the Knicks so good is that everybody was a star in their role, whatever that role was. And if you've got Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, whatever order you want to put them in, I would say Brunson 1, Julius 2, but whatever order you want to. If you think Julius is the better player, I'm not going to argue that. But that slots Mikal Bridges into the role he was in Phoenix, the third best scorer. And if you look at at what he did before that trade to Brooklyn, where he had to take on the role of the top dog, which he's not really suited for, I think you do get a Mikal Bridges who could potentially be an all-star because he's going to be able to be in the role that he was designed to play. He's going to be a defensive stopper who pairs really well with OG. He's going to get a lot of good looks. And oh, by the way, he can put the ball on the deck and kill a closeout and create some offense off the dribble, probably more so than Anunoby can. You know, this is a legitimate 20-point per game scorer. You know, and in a third banana role, that gives him the opportunity to star in his role, in my opinion. And oh, by the way, it shifts Dante DiVincenzo to the second unit, and then Dante can lead the second unit, and that's where he can get his scoring. So it puts a lot of pieces into place. Remember, we had 3 bench players who were pushed into starting roles last year because of injury. Well, now if you can bring those guys back to where they belong off the bench and let them shine in their role, which we know that they can do, that's what makes this team so dangerous, in my opinion.
Geoff, that and this covering of Duce McBride. Duce McBride is actually good. You know, let's not forget that he, you know, is a guy that we developed, and now he's coming along like very, very well. He's, you know, he's proved to be a really good a bench piece. So we have a good team. So losing Hart, like we are gonna lose some stuff, but it's not like a nail in our coffin or anything like that. We're gonna be fine. We're going to be fine. If we could get a center that could grab some rebounds, a big body in the middle, you know, intimidate, you know, some of these little guards coming over here trying to get free layups. You know, you just need a big body in the middle. So we're going to be fine. So a couple of days ago, when we signed Mikal Bridges, of course, you know, Knicks Nation went nuts. We went crazy because now we're like, okay, we're the second best team in the East. We already was that last year, but like now it's like more etched in stone. It wasn't an accident. Like it wasn't. So but not so fast, because another team in our conference and our division made some very important moves. So my question to you is, with Philly adding Paul George, of course, you know, signing Maxey to a max deal, re-signing Kelly Oubre. Who else? They got Andre Drummond, and they also got Eric Gordon, veteran Eric Gordon. Do you still think the Knicks is the second best team in the East right now? And we lost Isaiah Hartenstein.
That is a great question. I'm gonna let Geoff go first.
Well, I'm good with that because I've been thinking about that some, because I think that you can make the argument that the Sixers have the top trio in the league with Embiid and George and Maxey. You can argue Boston if you want to, but I think there's a legitimate case that Philly has the top triumvirate in the league right now, but it's not 3-on-3, right? This isn't a 3-on-3 league. And there's not a lot behind that. Eric Gordon had a very good year last year. He's not a spring chicken. He's 35, I believe. He's got a big injury history. Paul George played 74 games last year, but he has a really big injury history. Joel Embiid, we know, is going to miss time. And Andre Drummond is good insurance for that because he can step in and do a good job. And I think that shores up one of their weaknesses from last year because, they didn't really have anybody in the minutes when he was out. I think they need to bring Kyle Lowry back. They don't really have a shooting guard right now because I'm calling Maxey a point guard. And I consider Paul George a 3. So I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess you're starting Eric Gordon. I don't know. So
what happened with Buddy? Is Buddy still there?
Is Buddy still there? Yeah, I guess Buddy is still there. But
yeah, he might be.
When
he was traded, he was still under contract. I don't think he's a free agent. When he was traded with
he might be. Because I know they said Philly only had 4 players under contract, and I don't think Buddy Hield was one of them. So they may bring him back though.
Yeah, but they lost Batum. Like I said, I think they need to bring back Kyle Lowry. So my point is that they have. I don't think Paul George is washed. He had a very good season last year. Injury prone, I'll agree with. Washed, I would disagree with that. He shot really well from 3 last year. He was terrific. But Philly's going to be really good if they can stay healthy. They're a legitimate tough team, but so are we, and so is Boston. We beat them in 6 games last year, and I feel like we gifted them at least one of those games. So, we can compete with Philly. There's no doubt in my mind. If you want to say that they're better than us right now, I think splitting hairs, and on paper they may be. Again, I don't think there's a lot of depth on that team, and it's a long season, and they've got to be healthy come playoff time. We know that better than anybody. And I think they've got a lot of fragile pieces. Maybe they'll get lucky and be healthy, but I just, to me, that's a big if with them. And then if they have a tough regular season and they get in as a 6 seed like they did last year or whatever, then how do you then you're on the road for 3 straight series. So if you want to make a deep run. So as far as they're an interesting case because they're very top heavy, but that top is really excellent. So we'll see how it goes.
Shout out to the chat, man. Y'all need to hit that like button, and thank you for bringing clarification. Buddy Hield is a free agent. He's unrestricted. He's a totally free agent. So
I doubt they bring him back. Remember, other than that one game, Nick Nurse, he was unplayable for Nick Nurse anyway.
Yeah.
And there's no talk of anybody going after him. So, So back to the chat. Listen, I only see 51 likes. 51 likes, not going to cut it. 51 likes, Queen. Of all these people watching, 51 likes, man. Let's hit the like button on a Monday, a surprise show, an emergency. This is show number 2 for the day on the Dope Soul Sports Talk channel. And there might be more later this week. You never know. So hit the like button. So Boston, Philly. Geoff, you said they might have the best 3 players in the NBA or in the East?
The best trio of players on the same team. Yeah, I think you could make that argument.
In the NBA?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Dallas got Luka, Kyrie, and Klay Thompson. I mean, that's a deadly trio right there, man. I don't
It
know. I
is.
don't know. You know, I mean, aside from Klay Thompson, I
Yeah.
don't know how much defense you get out of the other guys, but that those guys can score. All those three guys can put it up.
It's just an argument. I mean, I'm not saying it's absolutely locked down, but it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, and I said this on the show earlier, Philly may be top heavy, and you can argue that, salute, coach. You may argue that, their three top players are better than our three top players, but, that doesn't make them the better team. And I think what the Knicks are banking on is tough-minded players who work together, who play good defense, and can score in their own right, right? And can score in their own right. That's what they're banking on. When you looked at that team that went into the playoffs, they were locked in, and every year is different. Every year is different. But if this team can lock in like last year's team that went to the playoffs and they're healthy, I like our chances. I think we're as good as anybody. We're as good as anybody, even with Mitchell Robinson. And I don't want anybody to mistake what I'm saying when I'm saying I like our offensive versatility with iHeart. That does not mean that I don't think we can win a championship with Mitchell Robinson at the center position. We can. We definitely can. And we will. And we will. We might have to do some things a little different. We might have to bring a different style of center to play behind him, but it is doable.
Yeah, talk that talk, Queen. That's what I want to hear. We will.
Yeah, we will. Salute,
Man,
Mega. It's been a minute, Mega. Has it been a minute? Or maybe I just haven't had a show in a minute. That's probably
no,
what
no,
it is. But
Mega.
salute,
It's
Mega.
it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I
It's been
haven't
a
seen
minute?
Mega.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a minute. And shout out to
Yeah.
Coach. Coach
Shout out,
always
always
representing,
rocking with us.
always rocking with us,
Mhm.
man. Thanks, Mega. Welcome back, man. um, yeah. So, and other teams that kind of like people don't talk about, for instance, are the Indiana Pacers. Who shout out to Obi Toppins, by the way, who signed an extension with the Pacers. Obi Toppin getting his money out there. Do we feel like
Mhm.
those teams who aren't making huge moves, or I mean, you expect every team to get better, just like we expect ourselves to get better. Like one
Right.
more year together, more chemistry and stuff like that. What do you think of all these other teams that I feel like prior to last season we felt was going to make more noise than they did, and some of them did. Like, listen, the Pacers got with whatever path they followed. They point is they made it to the conference to the Eastern Conference Final, right? Do you
Right.
expect them to be that sort of team this next season, or that was a fluke? Or do you expect them to get better because they got there without Ben Matherin? Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they do you expect them to be a better team, to be more competitive? Because we're looking at the Knicks and we're not seeing what everybody else is doing. So, and the
Listen,
Orlando, for instance,
yeah, Orlando's signed KCP, Cardavius Caldwell Pope, Kentavious Caldwell
Kentavious.
Pope. I think he'll help them. The Indiana coach, Carlisle, said that basically they're looking for internal development. And they're not, they're bringing back, their players, except for Jalen Smith, who signed with Chicago. They're looking for internal development. I think Orlando will be better with internal development. But when you look at Boston, now that they won, we can say that. Like before, Boston, it was like, oh, let's see, who can win. They're the favorites. But now that they won, it's about building a roster that can potentially beat them. And I don't see that in Indiana, and I don't see that with Orlando. Anything is possible, But just from looking at the roster, I don't see that. I see that with the Knicks, and I see that with Philly, depending on how both of us fill out the rest of the roster.
What do you think, Geoff? All these other teams, and I'm gonna throw Miami in there. Miami's been surprisingly very
They
quiet
signed
too.
Kevin Love. I wouldn't throw them in there at all. They re-signed Kevin Love. That's all they did.
Yeah, they did. I think they extended Bam too.
I really like what Orlando did. I think KCP is. I think KCP is the perfect fit for them. I think he does. I think he's a good playoff veteran. And they were what, a 4 or 5 seed last year. So, you know, I could definitely see them making it to the second round. I don't think they're going to go further than that, but I like what they did. You know, that yeah, we're all sleeping on the Bucks, but I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if that's a good idea or not. You can't forget about Milwaukee either, but you know, we'll see. You know, the thing about it is, if the Knicks are healthy, I don't really worry about it too much. I think we have the ammunition to take out anybody if we can stay healthy and stay on the grind. I really do have confidence in this team. I think adding a fourth Villanova guy to the equation in Bridges is, I mean, the cost was high, but I think it's a really good fit. I think it raises our ceiling. And I think once we see this guy on the floor with Julius and with OG and with Mitch, I think we're really going to like what we have in Bridges. And I really like the idea of Josh Hart and DiVincenzo being fresh and in that second unit and with Duce and you know, again, 5 spots a question mark. Mitchell Robinson, stay healthy. This is the biggest year of your career, buddy. I mean, if you want to stay in New York, you've got to stay on the court, because I guarantee you, if he has another season where he's only 40 games or whatever, they're going to trade him or look elsewhere. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind about that. But I'm reminded of something that Queen said a long time ago now, but you know, about having so much money invested at the 5 spot, right? I think now it's more in line with a modern NBA. You know what I mean? In other words, if we paid Hartenstein, we'd be spending $30 million at the center spot, which OKC spent that for one guy, obviously. But I'm just saying, if you're not having an elite guy, I don't think you really should be doing that. And I think that you know, we need to look at a Jalen Brunson extension could be coming this summer, which is really going to help us out long term. It's going to give us more flexibility, which will be amazing. What do we do with Julius Randle's contract? He's up for an extension also, so it's a big year for him also. And I think he's the biggest beneficiary of, again, having Bridges. I think this helps him out because now you have 2 really good defenders to place on either side of him on the wing. I think that him out a lot. And it just, the versatility, the different lineups that we can use, and the more people that he can pass the ball to who can make a shot and do something with it.
Yeah.
To me, that's exciting, regardless of what everybody else is doing. I think I'm buying the core that we have, and maybe that's just me being a stupid homer, but I buy the core 7, 8 guys that we have, and I think that they have enough to really do some special things.
And I agree. I fully agree with that. Just the way that it is right now. And if we add like one just 7-footer in the middle just to clog it up for the other team's offense, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah. Ivory 10 Why can't we spend 30 million, excuse me, for centers when we have no issues paying 75 million plus Hart for wings? Because the NBA has changed.
It's a
It's a
wings league.
wings league. Yeah. So yeah, you do. If we were back in the 80s or the 90s, then yeah. When it was more of a big man's game, then yeah, you pay that money for bigs. But now that the NBA has changed, you really want to have 30 million, wrapped up in the center. Now, listen, OKC is in a different position. They went to the Western Conference Finals. They believe that iHeart and Caruso was going to take them over the top, and they were willing to pay for it.
And Queen, if I may,
How can you argue with that?
it, it,
hmm
if you're a team like OKC who has an abundance of wings, yeah, you could pay
Right.
a center $30 million. But if you're the Knicks, you need wings. You're not gonna pay. So first of all, we couldn't have paid him that kind of money anyway. But even if we could, I don't
We
think
could
they would
not
have
have.
done that. Yeah, we couldn't have. But we need more wings on this team. OKC has literally nothing but wings. They have a lot of wings over there.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah. I just want to, we don't. I just want to explain this because somebody else alluded to this in the chat. We don't need to spend 30 million on iHeart. I agree. If we could have offered him 23, he might never have tested free agency. OG getting 40 million handicapped us. I don't think it mattered. It didn't. Not even I don't think. It did not matter how much money OG got. The Knicks can only offer, because they had his early bird rights and not his full bird rights, they could only offer him 4 years, 72.5 million, no matter what OG and Anobi could have signed for 5 million. The Knicks still could not have offered iHeart more than, I think it was 16.2 million in his first year.
100% correct. Dave.
It is what it is. Any, the front office has been tremendous. But if they don't sign, if our center position remains as is, any thoughts that y'all didn't have a contingency plan? Like any questions around that? If our center position stays Robinson and Sims?
I'd be really surprised at that, first of all. But yeah, I think it's always fair to question, though. I think, until we win the championship, I think criticism is fair game. It's not there's nothing wrong with being critical of the team when they do something that you don't like. I don't, uh so uh yeah, and shuttle hit it on the head. There's not a lot out there. We
Yeah.
say contingency plan, but who was out there to bring in, for the resources that we had available. So it may not be a question of what we wanted to do, but what we could do. So I, it's a lot of times it's like, well, what player did that was available that we definitely could have gotten that we, that we didn't get, that's the litmus test. So, and again, we kind of have to wait.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit early because, it's free agency day
Correct.
2. So the off season's not close to over. So there's, I think we at least owe this front office the benefit of the doubt to say, okay, let's wait till we get to training camp and see what the roster looks like. And then if they didn't address that, we can definitely say, well, that is a definite weakness of the team for sure at this point right now, without question.
Yeah. DJ Shuttle, let us know if you wanna
Sh-
hop on. B baller for real. We could not have paid him 23 to 25 million. Period. Point blank. Hard stop. We could not have paid him that. Even if the Knicks wanted to. $16.2 million to start was the most the Knicks could have paid.
And that's what they offered right away, by the way.
Has nothing to
So
do with
Ian
what we
Begley
had
said.
Yeah.
available. Those are the rules.
Yeah, which means that they had a way. They figured out a way to not be hard capped, right? At the first apron, they figured it out if they were willing to offer him a max co- contract. Um, yes. What do we think about this, Steve Pierre? I hope they look into Mo Wagner. He a dog. Any thoughts
It,
on Mo
is
Wagner?
is he available? Like, I'm surprised he's available.
I
Like,
like Mo
I
Wagner.
think he's a free agent.
you'd have to think Orlando would want to bring him back.
I know they
But they
declined
just
his
brought back.
qualifying offer so that they could sign KCP, and I know that they brought back Batadze today. So, and they also still have Wendell
Yeah.
Carter Jr. So, you know, maybe they plan on carrying all three. I don't know. His brother certainly still plays there, so that may help him. And then the question is, how much does he cost? You know, what? I think he made like $8 million last year. Is that right? Um, and so I'm
Can
imagining he's
somebody check
wanting
that
to,
for? I'll check it.
because I'm imagining if that's what he made, he's going to want to make more. And so we would certainly have to, uh, get to the second apron, get hard cap to the second apron instead of the first, because I don't think he's coming here for $4 or $5 million. But if you could get Wagner, do it. I like him a lot. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, he is.
But we might be able to, Jeff, because I think that 8 million was under a different collective bargaining agreement. I think this collective bargaining agreement, teams are going to have to make some tough choices. And I think some players are going to get squeezed out. And he might be one of them. Remember, Oubre signed for the minimum last year because he got squeezed out. So let's just keep hope alive. Let's keep hope alive that we might. I don't know if he's somebody the Knicks would want, though. Um, I don't know about his rebounding. I know he's offensively and his ability to move the ball is good. What about rebounding and defense?
Well, the Magic are kind of a clone of the Knicks as far as what they like to do and the types of players that I mean, they were very good defensively. So I would be shocked if he wasn't. I mean, my recollection is that he's a good defensive player. I didn't look at the DBPM numbers
Mhm.
to back that up. Bad job by me. I should have checked that before the show, and I'm not sure what his rebounding numbers are, but yeah, I I just like him as a player. I'll have to do some more research. I didn't look at him because I didn't really feel like he was available. I just kind of assumed that was someone that Orlando would bring back, and that Batadze would be the one who was gettable. But now it looks like maybe that's the other way around, and maybe that's because they can get Goga cheaper. You know, I don't know. I don't know what kind of deal Goga got signed to either, though. So I would love Wagner.
Um,
I think that's a great choice.
was it 3 years, 25? I don't think it was a lot. Yeah.
Shout out to
If
DJ Shuttle.
somebody could check that for us. Mhm.
Queen DJ Shuttle said the center position just got weak. Nah, Shuttle, we good. We got Mitch. I know you love Mitch. We got Mitch. We'll be all right.
3 years, 25 million. I mean, that's not.
For Goga, that's not outrageous.
Yeah, that's not outrageous at all, right?
That's,
No.
Yeah, it's less than $10 million a year. That's pretty good.
Probably starts at 6 or 7 and escalates from there too. Not necessarily, but I would imagine that it does. Or they just didn't like
Yeah.
Jonas or Drummond.
But Apollo Williams,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's not like iHeart dragged this on for weeks. Free agency just started. I mean, you know, obviously Drummond wanted to sign with Philly and so on and so forth. I mean, these guys, we're talking about. It's only been a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yo, man, y'all need to hit that like
Yeah.
button. I don't like where we at, man. We still not there. Right now we still haven't have 100 like. Meanwhile, we have almost 200 people checking, or tapped into the show, listening and participating and keeping the chat hot and flowing. Y'all need to hit that like button and share, subscribe, and make the family bigger.
Yeah, for sure. Mo Wagner still a free agent. Somebody, Stoic J, go get Wiseman. We talked about Wiseman earlier. Jeff's not that, high on him. I can't say that I'm high on him either. I would love for him to be our third stringer over Sims. But as somebody playing behind Mitchell Robinson, I'm not sure what the Knicks are going to do. Maybe they have a trade lined up. I can't imagine the Knicks didn't plan for this contingency. Didn't have a contingent, a plan for this possibility. I mean,
I would agree.
yeah, I
Steven
can't.
Pierre.
Oh, I like Kessler.
Shout out to Steven. He said somebody called the front office. Somebody called the front office. We don't have to call them. I keep telling you, the front office, they watch this show. They,
so what do we
on
want
a
to say to the
replay,
front office?
What do we
want to say to the front office?
I already said my piece, man. I already told them. I know you don't agree with that, Queen, but they got to re-sign Precious Achiuwa and then go look for that other center they want to look for. Right now, there's no top dog out there right now. There's no superstar centers out there right now. So you need lock in Precious and then go get that 7-footer. You need to clog up the lane. When them little guards come and think they're gonna get a layup. That's it. I don't know who that's gonna be. It could be Wiseman. Wagner. Wagner would be good, but I don't think we're gonna get him. I don't think we're gonna get Wagner. Somebody's gonna scoop him up first.
They lost in the semis. Okay. Yeah, it was Minnesota and Dallas in the finals, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Western Conference Finals. Yeah. Bring me Wagner and Wiseman. Can we get both? We gotta trade. We have a trade exception.
Send Sims packing in that case.
Yeah, the problem with Sims, his money is not helpful.
Yeah, but you could trade him for a second-round pick or something, maybe, or just, you know what I mean. You could trade him just to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Even if you don't get anything back, it could be like one of those picks. Go ahead.
600,000 of his. Oh, that's if you waive him, right? 600,000 of
If
his
you
salary
trade him,
is
right. That's
all
what
of
I'm
it
saying.
goes,
Trade
yeah.
him for
Yeah.
trade him for a little bit of nothing, and then that way you just free up the whole $2 million.
Holmes or Daniel Tice?
Is Tice still available?
I need somebody that can make a pass.
I like
Tice is a
Holmes. I
free
like
agent.
where your head's at, Shuttle. I like Holmes. I've always been a fan of his.
But is he that same guy though? I've been a fan of his as well. Is he that same guy?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
But I'm also trusting Shuttle on this one too, because Shuttle knows what he's talking about most of the time. So if he's in on Holmes, I can get down with that.
All right. And this was the other names. I think I put this up before. Wiseman, I'm good with. Wagner, I'm good with. Boogie, I'm not good with. Dwight, I'm not good with. Tristan, I'm not good with. Beyond, I'm not good with. The first two, I'm good with. And if we could swing a trade for Kessler, that would be great. And if we could swing a trade for Nick Richards out of Charlotte, I would like that as well.
Queen, would you trade Mitch for Richards?
I would. Well, Mitch is a better player than Nick Richards. I think Nick Richards has the potential in terms of rebounding, block shots, but Mitchell Robinson is a better player than Nick Richards. It's the injuries. When you factor in the injuries, that's the only thing that would make me pause and consider it. But he's not an offensive juggernaut either. Now, I
We don't need
don't
him
know
to
if he
be an
can do more. Hmm?
We don't need an offensive juggernaut, though. We have
We don't. But what I mean is he somebody that can pass the ball? Is he, or is he just another rebounding, not just,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
more of a defensive player. You know what I mean? I just
Well,
feel
in
like
other
we need
words,
something.
is the double team going to come from his guy every time or not? That's what the advantage of Hartenstein was. He had that little floater, or whatever you want to call that. I love that shot, by the way. He has that. He had that in his bag, so you had to stay honest. You couldn't just automatically double off him. That's the problem with Precious Achiuwa. If he's in the lineup, you can just, and same with Mitch for that matter, you can just double straight off that. So that's where but again, I don't know. I think that the only guys who are available that have offensive game at this point are defensive liabilities, and then if that's the case, is Tibs even going to play him? So you kind of, you're not going to find the perfect player, and we can't let perfect be the
Right,
enemy of the
right,
good. If there's a good
right,
player out there, who
right.
who checks off like 7 out of 10 boxes or 5 out of 10 boxes, then I
You're
think you
right.
kind of at this point have to bite the bullet and get him.
You're right. Kessler, shout out to King Ribby RN. Appreciate you rocking with us. Kessler only 2 million, and they're going to trade him per Shams. So Sims and those 4 second-round picks.
4. Give him 10. We have like 50
We
of
got
them.
about 769 of them.
We got to get rid of them somehow. That's a good opportunity to get rid of them second round picks.
I like Kessler. He's a great shot blocker. I don't know if he's a great rebounder. Now, he's a pretty good rebounder. He is a pretty good defensive rebounder. I don't know about offensive rebounder. I would have to look that up. Can he make a pass, though? And I hear what you're saying, Geoff. At this point, we got to take what we get. If a person, if Kessler can't pass the ball and it's just another dribble handoff, he would be still better behind Mitchell Robinson than any other option we talked about tonight. So you're absolutely right in that sense. I would just like a different type of center, if possible, behind Randall. Robinson. But I like Kessler. I liked him coming out the draft. The Knicks had an opportunity to draft and passed over him. But I like Kessler. I don't think we have any first rounders to give.
Those protected.
But if we did, I'd be tempted to give it up because
But
again, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say those protected, they're not worth much. So if he take them, those they're not gonna convey. I mean, those things are, the Detroit top 18 protected. You know where Detroit's headed this season, so that's not
The
gonna.
Detroit pick is likely to convey eventually, though. Those protections lessen every year, and you have to imagine eventually.
Geoff, I don't think they get lower than 15. Like, if I remember correctly, am I wrong on that?
I don't think that's right.
No,
I don't think that's right.
I got to look that up. I
Thank
thought
you, King
Detroit's
Ribby.
pick don't get lower than 15 or protection on it 15 or 14 or top 14. After that, it's I don't know what happened.
I
Maybe
think by the end it's like top 10 or top 8 protected.
really.
Yeah, but that's like 2 or 3 seasons out.
Somebody check that for us. Shout out to the chat. I mean, you guys are right on it in terms of
They
backing
are.
up what we say. We was
Yeah.
talking about Kessler's rebounding. Bam, King Ribby. He averaged 9.9 rebounds last year.
Yo,
Appreciate you, King
Queen,
Ribby.
It's a lot.
the chat is on point, on fire. The only thing they're not doing is hitting that like button, man. Y'all need to just catch up on that one. Everything else is good with the chat right now.
They're going to
Everything
get it on the rebound. They like Walker Kessler. They get 9.9 rebounds on the line.
They convert to 2 second rounders next year. Wow.
Which one? Which one is that?
I
Detroit?
think he's talking about Detroit.
Yeah, Jeff. That's
Well,
that's
Is
what
it
I'm
that's right
saying.
here.
Detroit
They
or
don't get-
Washington?
Well, Washington converts to 2 second rounders, but I think that's
The Knicks own the Wizards' top 10 protected first round pick in 2025. So it's only top 10 protected.
I don't think there are any
They
danger of
convert to
losing.
2 second rounders in 2026. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, well, the question to the panel is: would you be willing to give up one of the protected picks for Kessler,
Kessler.
or not really?
For Kessler, I would. Look, we're in win now mode. I think, especially if it's the Washington one that converts to 2 seconds and is likely to become 2 seconds, for sure that. But if Ainge is going to play hardball and he wants that, Detroit pick, yeah, I would do it. Because I think Kessler helps you right away. I think that he provides, great insurance for Mitch, Rob. I think you could platoon those two guys pretty well and pretty even minutes-wise even. So, I like Walker Kessler, though. I've always been a fan of his.
Yeah, me too. I think there was some injuries with him last season too, if I'm not mistaken. He's still developing, though. He's still developing. But we're not asking him to do much, though.
Queen, he's not injury prone, so to speak,
Mhm.
but he looks frail. Like he looks like he could get hurt like easily.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's a block monster for sure.
yeah,
That
would
he
definitely-
is. Yeah. So I think the Knicks haven't, gone after Batazi, or maybe they did, or these other free agents, because I think they have a trade up their sleeve. That's what I'm guessing.
Oh, Queen, I mean, we keep guessing, man. So who you think's gonna be gone? Come on, we might as well go all the way. Who do you think they're getting rid of?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's
Who do
nobody.
we
There's
have?
nobody.
Who do we have
Who
to
do we
trade?
have? Who do we? The tradable pieces we have, we don't want to get rid of.
But
They
if you're
part of the
trading that TPE and just giving
Yeah.
somebody cap space, now Utah's already under the cap, so I don't guess that's useful to them. But I don't know.
We do have a traded player, a trade exception. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's 6.9 million.
Yeah, that's the one from the Obi Toppin trade. The 6.9 is.
So yeah, so we can use that. I'm not sure if we can use both that and the taxpayer mid-level exception. I read somewhere that we could use both. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
We might could use both. I don't think you can aggregate them, though. I think that would have to be in two separate transactions.
Okay, all right. He played 64 games last year. 4.9 offensive rebounds, really, and 7.5 total rebounds in only 23.3 minutes a game. Well, if he's averaging 5 offensive rebounds, that definitely fits in with how we like to play in terms of second chance opportunities. And for defensive rebounds, Randall, I hope that shoulder is good.
You and me both.
for the rebounds.
Him and Josh Hart. for defensive rebounds because he's averaging 5 offensive rebounds and only 7 overall. So it doesn't sound like he's a really good defensive rebounder.
Yeah. We hope Randall's shoulder's good for those clear outs. He clear out with that shoulder. I mean, he's trying to create space for him to take his
Oh, it was the
his
other way
shots.
around. 4.9 offensive defensive rebounds and 2.6 offensive rebounds. Okay, all right.
That's still good though in
Okay.
23 minutes. I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm all in on Kessler and Nick Richards if we can get him. Somebody pull up the stats on Nick Richards. I think he played a bit more once Mike Williams went down. Before that, but the thing about Nick Richards, because I play fantasy basketball, he's up and down too. 10 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 game, 5 points, 8 rebounds, 1 block the next game. Like he can be a bit up and down.
That's okay.
Yeah,
we just have to be patient and give it some time and let him work.
All this talk we're doing, WTK is like, man, listen, we need to sign someone. All right, anyone at this point. I think we are
to really try to fill out our roster. I just want to pull up this because I think this is our depth chart. Look at our situational players. Man, let me get this out the way.
Queen.
Yeah, I think Queen buffering, but I mean, this is just the way Tibs like it, though, right? When you look at this
positional versatility too, though, because Bridges can play the 2, 3, and 4, and Anunoby can play the 3 and the 4. Hart can play the 2, 3, and 4. DiVincenzo can play the 2 and the 3.
He could bring up the ball also because you are going to have some minutes with no Jalen Brunson on the floor, and probably DiVincenzo is going to be bringing up the ball,
or McBride.
So I mean, so this is it came off. Geoff, correct me if I'm wrong. That was like a 9. Is that a 9 or 10 man rotation? Just the way Tibs like it?
It's 9 at most because she had Hart in both spots.
Yeah, and which
and I don't think she had a backup center either. So I think
so it's 9. No. Let's think about it. Brunson, Bridges, OG Anunoby, Randall, and Mitch is your 5. And coming off the bench, you have Duce, Hart, DiVincenzo.
That's 8.
Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. I think she had Sims in there.
Yeah,
that's the 9. She had Jericho Sims in there. That's the 9. But really, so Jericho Sims gonna go from situational. Well, I think Sims would be like a placeholder for whoever that center is gonna be. So Sims probably gonna move over to the situational column, and whoever. Hopefully, we sign somebody that's gonna be that 5 spot coming off the bench. And I think our discussion is what happens when not if, but unfortunately when Mitch goes down. So that moves somebody. One of those guys is going to have to become part of the main road, one of the starters, and then Jericho Sims will become from being situational to actually being the backup, or vice versa, depending on who we get.
And OG can play the backup 5 some, and if we re-sign Precious, he takes care of that too.
I think we should re-sign Precious, man. I really think we should re-sign Precious because he could play the 4, he could play the 5, he could give you some good minutes on most teams. When we play most teams in NBA, he could probably give you good 5 minutes. And so I'm gonna throw this out there, right? So this is the second or third day of free agency. I don't know. It feel like it only started yesterday. But how do you feel the front office has done thus far? Because I know they did great with the bringing on Bridges from the Nets. We had a show on that. I felt it was an overpay, but that's something we had to do. It's not a bad overpay. Like, I feel like we had some leverage where we could have negotiated better with them because we knew Bridges wanted to come to New York. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't. He's like a hot potato, like I said the other day. They had to get rid of him. Didn't have to happen this off season, but it had to happen at some point, right? How do you feel they've done so far in the off season? We bought in Mikal Bridges with the draft.
Bridges trade is what set everything else in motion. That put the rest of the league on notice. I think a lot of what's seen elsewhere has been reactionary to what the Knicks were able to do because they know that it's an arms race and they have to compete. They have to keep up. And I think the front office had a pretty good idea they were losing Hartenstein. I don't think that came across as a surprise at all. I think they understand the landscape and the lay of the land. And other than that, there's not a whole lot that can be done in free agency. We're not a team that has a lot of cap space. There's a trade market, I suppose. We kind of need to figure out what the details are on the on the Bridges trade. Like, are we operating as hard cap to the first or second apron? So from that standpoint, and Randall can play small ball 5 on offense, but Randall as a small ball 5 on defense is a disaster because you just put him in the pick and roll and then it's just not good. He freezes and he doesn't fight over and get out to the shooters. Randall, and so if you're talking about Randall and OG together, and OG's playing the 5 defensively and Randall's playing the 5 on offense, that I can buy, but I don't think Randall can play the small ball 5 personally. On defense, I don't think he can.
On defense because he doesn't. So he doesn't. He doesn't provide the rim protection, Geoff. Is that why?
No, because when you all you do is you put him in pick and rolls on defense, and if you have to switch the pick and roll, he doesn't do a good job fighting over. He doesn't, he tends to be very stationary, and anytime you have to have him be active defensively, I'm not explaining this very well, but when he has to be active and make decisions defensively, he doesn't typically do a very good job. He tends to be very stationary in those situations and give up lots of wide open 3-pointers. Remember how we gave up so many 3-pointers to Indiana in that series?
Right.
You would be seeing that all day long, every day against whomever we were playing, because they would just get him in a pick and roll and then just shoot. Get your best shooter to.
It happened with Indiana in that series. Randall wasn't on the floor, so that means, I guess it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, but Randall's really bad with it. I think any team can exploit Randall as a small ball 5 in that scenario. I would be very concerned about that. I don't like Randall as the small ball 5 on defense. Offensively, I think it's fine.
Well, and in terms of rim protection, right? So our guys, I have to say, we have guards that their size, they can't really protect the rim, but because they're defensive minded, they always blocking shots. You realize that? How many shots has DiVincenzo or even Josh Hart? Those guys, they don't allow the free layup. They go for it, man. And so we're gonna lose some rim protection, but I don't think it's disastrous that if we don't have a guy in the middle that intimidates people because they still getting challenged at the rim. It's not a walk in the park.
Like I said, if it's OG as the small ball 5, I think it's a lot better because he's a lot more switchable.
Yeah.
Even Precious as a small ball 5, I like better than Randall.
Well, we'll see. In the next couple of days, we're gonna find out what the front office has done. Do you feel any chance of, and I'm throwing things out there that we can discuss, any chance of any one of those players we drafted get minutes that are more, not just situational, but more important than situational minutes? More,
I would be shocked. I would be shocked. If we get a lot of injuries, that would be the only way. I don't see any one of those guys working their way into or fighting their way into the rotation.
Right.
If one was going to do it, Hakturi would be the one that we would want because he's the big out of the 3, right?
Yeah.
But I like Kolek. I think eventually in a couple years he's going to be our full-time backup point guard. So I think he has that potential, but he's not going to be ready for that role right away. He's gonna have to grow into that. He's gonna have to learn. But I really like his game. I think he's kind of a poor man's Jalen Brunson. I really do. I like him a lot. He's got good court vision. His footwork is really good. Jumps off of 2 feet, so Jay Wright would be happy. But he does a lot of things. I again, and it may just be that I'm overhyping a prospect, but I liked him in college before the Knicks picked him, and I was really hoping the Knicks would take him. So I think he's got an interesting future with the team, and I think he's more likely a future point guard on this team. Rokas, rather.
I think York. I don't think Jokic. That ain't happening. He's never coming over here. I don't think. I don't care if he plays in the summer league or whatever. He's not going to be part of the squad.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Rokas is coming over here.
I don't see that happening at all. But all season we talked about getting a backup point guard. Like we got to get a backup point guard. We even talk about trading for one. But that's all. Like we don't talk about that anymore. Like, and here we are saying that rookie is probably not going to get playing time. So he's like a 2-year down the line guy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that Duce McBride is, because Duce, we know he can shoot. We know he's really a 2 guard. Like, unfortunately, he in a point guard's body. But do you feel he works on his game, develop his game so he doesn't have to give us too many minutes at the point guard position? We only need Duce for like 8-10 minutes bringing up the ball. It's like, do you feel
you're going to see that this year? I think that's going to be his minutes allocation.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get much more than that with the other guys that we're fully healthy. I don't think Duce is much more than a 10 or a 12 minute per game guy right now.
Geoff,
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Queen. Welcome back.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I kind of disagree with that. I think so. You guys, I think Tibs, he's gonna play those guys. See, the thing is, Tibs, he kept a tight rotation because he didn't have enough players that he trusts. Now he trusts everybody on this team right now. These minutes
are those second round picks. I don't.
No, not the picks. I'm talking about the 9 or 10 man rotation that we're talking about.
Okay, all right.
But this is the thing, Ajay, and it remains to be seen. And I think we talked about this on the last show. I think the depth is good because if somebody goes down, we'll have replacements. But when you think about it, if Duce is playing behind Brunson, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, whatever minutes Brunson is not playing, Duce is playing those minutes. What are you doing at the shooting guard position? Are you splitting minutes between Bridges and DiVincenzo? Because where else is DiVincenzo going to play? So basically you're talking about, I don't know, a 30-18 split. Because where else is DiVincenzo going to play if you're playing McBride behind Brunson? I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying somebody is going to be getting less than 20 minutes.
Queen, I think he's going to mix and match. It's not going to be. I think he's going to mix and match. I think sometimes you'll have DiVincenzo, you have Duce and Brunson on the floor at the same time. It depends on the situation. Like I don't think, and I think he stepped away from that. We saw that this season where he didn't have the cookie cutter substitution that he did. He's like a little bit more flexible, a little bit less predictable, and I think that's going to continue this coming season, especially with more guys that he trusts on the roster.
I think I don't think we're going further than more than 8, and I think if we go 9, whoever that 9th guy is not getting more than 10 minutes. I think that there is a pecking order, and I think he wants the main guys to play as many minutes as they can handle. And I don't agree with Sherwin a lot. Shout out to Sherwin who just entered the chat. But I see DiVincenzo backing up the Brunson and Bridges, and I see Hart backing up OG and Randall. I see whoever we get playing the center spot, and I see McBride being situational, or if he does get minutes, I don't see it being more than 10, as Geoff said. And I hear you, Sherwin. You start playing 9 or 10. Say that again, Geoff.
And then injuries will happen, and that's when he'll.
Right. Correct. If OG misses games like we talked about earlier, Devo moves into the 2, Bridges to the 3, and now McBride is the first guard off the bench.
Correct. I see it the same way. I think you're going to see at least 36 minutes from Brunson, at least 36 minutes from Randall, at least 30 minutes from Bridges, and probably at least 30 minutes from OG. So that's 132 minutes already. Just from those 4 guys, and you haven't even talked about a center yet, and that's 48 minutes. So. The rest of those minutes are split between Hart, DiVincenzo, and McBride, and you're not talking about a big slice of pie there. So, and Hart and Devo are certainly going to be prioritized over McBride. There's no question about that.
Listen, if you can't play B-baller for real, if you can't play 36 minutes, then what are you doing in the NBA? What are we paying you millions and millions of dollars? 36 minutes? I mean, look at other teams. Look at the other team's top players. 36 minutes? Oh, you play 36 minutes. Oh, you're going to get injured. That's just too much. Yeah. If you're a star on the team, you're playing 36 minutes. I don't think that's unreasonable.
An entire quarter, guys. That's missing an entire quarter. Think about it that way. That's
that's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, look how many minutes is Brown playing and Tatum playing and Giannis playing? How many minutes are the top players on the opposing teams playing? They're playing 36 minutes. They're not playing 30 minutes.
Right.
I hear you, Sherman. He'll just be a little undersized, but if OG goes down and he has to miss some time, Bridges will have to play the 3. He'll be, I think he's 6'7", but whatever it is, he'll be an undersized 3.
He played the 2, 3, and 4. Bridges did. He's very versatile. He's fine. Like he can play all 3 spots. He did it in Phoenix. He did it in Brooklyn. So, he'll be a 2 here. Based on who we have personnel wise, but he's probably ideally a 3. So, that's so it just so works out that who we have that we'll have him at the 2 spot. But But make no mistake, Bridges is just a wing. He can play 2, 3, or 4, kind of like Josh Hart. Although I prefer Josh Hart 3 or 4 because he can't.
Right.
Mo Bamba
How people? How are we giving people rest? How are we playing? How are we playing? Did you see the roster? Did you see the we haven't? They have to fill it out. I can't see how we're gonna play guys 30 minutes a game. You just gotta hope they stay healthy. I just don't. I just don't see how they play in 30 minutes a game.
Yeah, your big 4 are definitely playing 35. You gotta at least pencil them in for that. I mean, if you talk about 30, that would probably be what you want to get Hart and DiVincenzo to, I would
Right.
think.
Right.
You know, off the bench, like, yeah, that seems like a reasonable number. Thank you, Shuttle.
Oh, Mo Bamba did sign with the Clippers, or is planning on signing with the Clippers.
Yeah, but Bamba's not available either, though. Bamba's not a good fit for us. He misses tons of games. Like, I like his talent, but I mean, wasn't he in Philly last year? And he didn't even.
Yeah, he didn't sniff the floor in the playoffs. I didn't see him in the Knicks series at all.
So I think that tells you all you need to know about Mo Bamba. Like, if we are bringing in someone, we've got to have someone who can eat minutes. And that's one of the reasons why Precious has flaws, and he's not really a true center. I agree with Queen on that, but we know he can eat minutes if we need him to, right? You know, and that's one of the things that works is whoever you get as the backup has to be able to eat minutes, because you just don't know how many games Mitch is going to play. You don't know how many minutes he's going to be able to play in those games. You know, he's not a guy who's had a 35, 36 minute per game load in his career. So, you know, I don't think you can pencil him in for more than 25 to 28 just because he hasn't really done more than that.
Yeah. I'm holding. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say shout out to the chat. We have more than 100 likes, but just don't stop, because we still have a lot of people watching that haven't hit that like button. So we got to keep it up.
How old is McGee nowadays? Does he have anything left?
How old is he? Like in real people age?
Yeah.
Like he's 36. But did he play? Where was he this past season?
Jay Boogie said he's backstage. I can't see him. Can you see him?
Yeah, I could see him, but I didn't know he was ready because I didn't see Jay. You ready, Jay Boog? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. There you go. What's up, Jay Boog?
There you go.
The closer in the house. Let's go.
What's happening, man? I'll be back here freezing, man. I was like in the Port Authority, man.
Yeah, I can't see you. I'm not on the studio.
Yeah.
So AJ got the controls. He under the control.
Yeah, I saw Jay Boog, but I didn't see the video. I just saw his picture. But yeah, welcome, man.
Man,
Jay
what's
Boog,
happening with y'all, man? How you doing?
Man, we talk about all the moves, you know, losing iHeart and like your potential replacements, what we're gonna do, and chime in, man. Like, what do you think? Anything that's been going on so far with the with the free agency?
I'm gonna reverse back for a little bit because I said it on this exact same show, and these are the exact same words. Man, we need to put Hartenstein back on that bench because he's doing too much. You gonna mess around, gonna have to overpay, or he gonna go get some bigger money.
He did.
I said that on this show.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, with Hartenstein going to OKC, yo, salute you, dude, and thank you for your energy, your effort, everything you know what I'm saying, you brought to the table. You know what I'm saying? You play hard for the New York Knicks. You play hard for the fans. You left everything out there on the table, and the money that you got, you earned that. You fought for it. You know, I prayed plenty of times. You know, when his Achilles was was messed up, and he was coming out there on the floor. Please don't let it pop. Please don't let it pop. He's up under a contract. Yeah. You know, I'm so happy for him and his family, being able to provide for him, his family for years and years to come. He came over to New York and he played his role, played his position. And when Mitch went down, he glued right in. He didn't come right in. He glued right in, you know what I'm saying, and fought. And for a team like the OKC, which was the number one seed in the West, number one seed, for them to look in our organization and say, we got a certain amount of money that we need to go and spend on a New York Knicks player to fill our gap that we need, it says a lot about the development of our culture, and a lot of people, they not looking at it like that. Yeah, we all wish Hartenstein would be here, but hey, the man deserved what he got. You know what I'm saying? He reached a number that was out of our plateau. You know what I'm saying? And salute to you, man. Just know when you come back, we're gonna stand up. We're gonna celebrate you. That one visit you have, and then after they throw that tip up, we're gonna boo you. We're gonna be on you. You know what I'm saying? That's just us. You know how the Knick people are. We just like that. But I'm okay because I trust and believe in Leon. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters. What he did with Jalen Brunson, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Dante, OG, and Bridges. That's what Leon Rose gave us in that order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Leon is also batting 1,000 at the trade deadline. Hartenstein, OG. So I already know right now he's plotting and trying to figure out what he need to do, what's the next move, how he gonna do it, and everything. You know what I'm saying? And when he does make the move, we're gonna be like, that's yeah, Leon. Just like we've been. Because they said so many things about what Leon couldn't do. Like go to Toronto and make a deal, like go to Brooklyn and make a deal. He made all those things happen. So me, myself, personally, I'm gonna let Leon work and let him figure out what's best for the team. And I'm gonna continue on fanning like I'm supposed to be fanning. And when that player comes in, and then we're gonna figure out, you know what I'm saying, how to make it all work together, just like we've been doing with all these other players. But I love where we at. We got a big rotation. You know what I'm saying? We got 4 elite players in the starting lineup, and they so elite in the starting lineup. Now they put elite players that was used to back starting for the first time in their careers, put them on the bench, and Dante and Josh along with Duce. So I got three people that's capable of playing 40 solid playoff minutes, behind these guys. And trust, believe, when they get in practice, they're going to be pushing them guys. They're going to be working them guys. And let you know what? I feel like you got my spot. That's how they're supposed to be carrying it with one another. I feel like you came and got my spot where I feel like I could continue on being a starter at the 2 guard. You know what I'm saying? That's how you're supposed to carry it. You know what I'm saying? Even though they all homies, they friends and everything, they're going to push for one another, you know what I'm saying? But also, the more you push them, the better the team going to get. And the better that person going to get. And as a whole, we'll get better together, But I love where we at. I'm happy with the squad, right now. I can't wait to see Summer League. My man that just got back from West Virginia is getting ready to shock a lot of people. That dude going on that floor, I'm telling you, that's a young Drogic. Yeah, young Drogic. Remember Drogic with that left hand? Penetrate, get to the hole, and can shoot. That's what he is, a young Drogic. And he's going to get some burn. People think he might not get on that floor. They're going to force put that man on the floor because they got to figure out what they're going to do at that deadline. I want to see if this guy right here, can he do what he's capable of doing? This is why we picked him. That was a sneak draft pick with that guy, man, coming from out of West Virginia, Kolick, man. A steal. Still. And people going to see. And I think he's going to be a fan favorite. I already said one time he's going to be like, he's like a good shooting TJ McConnell. So many people ran with that. That's why I switched it up and just said Dragic. I'm going to see how many people are going to come up with that line and go Dragic now. But, man, I love where we at, man. And I'm waiting for the Summer League. And shout out to the chat, the amazing people up under this orange and blue.
Oh yeah, amazing people, man. Yo, Jay Book, the chat is on fire. They've been on fire all night, man.
Yeah, they on fire, man. They're supposed to be on fire. We want the season to start now. We wanted to start now. They know what time it is, man. I don't care nothing about what Kmart said. Mother F the big three, man. It's just me. I don't care nothing about what Philly talking about the big three. We got a big four. Matter of fact, we got a big seven. You know, we got a four horsemen. The four horsemen. Jalen, Rick, Flair, Brunson. Ole and Arn Anderson. That's OG and Julius Randall. Now we got Bridges. I'm going to give him a belt too. That's Tully Blanchard. And I got some more guys a lot of people forgot about. Barry Windham. Yeah, TV champion. Barry Windham. That's Dante. And the other one, I'm going to put the mask on. Sting. That's Josh. We just lost Lex Luger. They kicked him out of the Four Horsemen anyway. Now we got a squad over here, man. Stop playing with me, man. Can't know about Philly and what they got going on. No PG. He parental guidance anyway. Nothing about it. It's on. It's on. They know it's on. Hey, Queen, how you doing, though?
I'm good. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
No
Rocking
doubt.
with you, AJ and Geoff. I'm good. I'm excited about what the Knicks are going to do this season, but I also feel like something else is coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that, and we talked about this a bit earlier, that Leon Rose and that front office didn't plan for this. They knew this was a possibility. And so I'm pretty sure they had plan A, B, and C, and it's just taking them some time to execute it. Like AJ said, it's only the second day. This is the second or third day of free agency?
It's the second full day.
The second full day. Okay.
Yeah, second full. It started Sunday at 6.
Okay. So if it started Sunday at 6, today is the first.
I'm sorry. Saturday at 6.
Saturday at 6. Okay. So yeah, I mean, they worked on their plan.
Was it Sunday? It did Sunday, right? So today's day 2.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's only been a little over 24 hours.
Yeah. So they're going to work something out. I have confidence that they have a plan A, B, and C.
Yeah, we just want to know what that plan is, though, Queen. Like, we just want to know, like, right now.
Yeah, like for me, it's
those who wait, AJ.
Yeah.
I think they were just waiting for this show so we could, they could take some pointers before they make their moves.
I don't know if it's gonna be big, B-Baller for real. You make a good point. If you believe they are waiting on something, then it has to be big. No. That would have to be either a Mitch or Randall deal. I don't know if it's gonna be big. I just feel like they had contingency plans that they're gonna execute within the next 24 hours if I had my druthers.
They'll have another emergency show tomorrow.
Right. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be big. I don't think it's going to be Randall being traded. I doubt it'll be, Robinson being traded either, though if it was between the two of them, I would think Robinson would have a better chance. But I don't think either one of them will be traded.
It's just we have a little money. We have a little money left over. So we're probably going to sign somebody outright. Somebody not too expensive.
But as we was talking about, who's out there? I mean, Mo Wagner made $8 million. Can we get him for $5 million? Maybe.
We could we could get him for 8. We have 8 million. Geoff, you are a resident mathematician. Don't we have 8 million? Because
Not
we
yet.
were
If we send out more money in the Bridges deal than we take back, then we can have up to up to 16, I think. But right now we're about 5.8, and we can open up another 10.3 if we don't hard cap ourselves at the first apron with the Bridges trade. And the only way to do that is if we send out equal salary or more to Brooklyn. So that either means sign and trade one of Alec Burks or Precious Achiuwa. That's really the only way to do it.
But Geoff, I thought we were offering iHeart 16 or close to 17 million.
Right. So what that tells you is that if we're doing that, that means that they had a way to not get hard capped at the first apron with the Bridges trade, but we don't know what that is yet because we don't know what the details of that trade are yet.
Right.
And we
And it
don't know
hasn't
if
been
they're going to
announced
still
yet.
do that.
That trade hasn't been announced yet, so they're still working on it.
But I'm sure that when they made the trade, I'm sure that there were multiple variations of the trade that were agreed to because if in other words, if we can re-sign Hartenstein, this is how we wanted to have the trade work.
Right.
And that may be why there are 6 picks instead of 5. That may be why that extra pick swap is in there. We just have the basic outline of the deal, but we don't have all the specifics yet. And once we get the specifics, we'll know. And if the deal is as it was reported and all we're sending out is Bogey's contract, that hard caps us at the first apron, and that means we only have about 5.8, somewhere in that neighborhood, 5.8 million to spend on the rest of our roster.
Well, Geoff,
and we're hard capped at that for the season.
Here's the part I don't understand. How would a sign and trade with Burks help us? Because Burks, he's a free agent. He's not under contract. Bogey's under contract. But
because
Burks,
if you sign and trade Burks or Precious, so Bogdanovich makes about 20 million. Bridges makes 24. So you have to do something salary-wise to bridge that gap. So if you sign Burks to let's just say a 1 year, or has to be multi-year, but the first year is the only one that needs to be guaranteed. But let's just say it's a 3-year, $15 million contract, $5 million a season. Well, that means that between he and Bogdanovich, we would be sending out 25 and only bringing back 24. Well, that means we're hard capped at the second apron because we aggregated salaries in a trade instead of being hard capped at the first apron.
Right.
Does that make sense, AJ?
yeah.
That's it's complicated, but that's how it works. So if we keep it as is, if we're sending out 19 and we're taking in 24, that hard caps us at that first apron. That by doing that's only first apron teams are allowed to do that in the collective bargaining agreement. So the league won't let you spend over that hard cap figure, and it's like 178 million or something like that. I don't know the exact. I don't know the exact number, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. So that's why the two different numbers exist between the how much money that we have. How the Bridges deal is structured dictates how much money we have to spend.
Okay.
And I would think that they're going to try to hard cap themselves at the second apron and not the first.
I would agree
because
with that.
if you look at our roster, center aside, even our situational players are rookies.
Yep.
Once you get past our starting 5, Hart, McBride, and Devo, that's 8. We need a center. and we need some more situational players in case anyone goes down or misses games. So I mean, we would laugh when we talk about Tibbs situational. This guy's situational, but during the course of a season, there's a lot of situations, where you really need situational players to step in.
And that's one of the reasons why those 3 second-round picks are actually so important, because there's a second-round pick exception that those $3 million salaries for basically are not counted against
Right.
that hard cap total. So that's
Right.
why our situational players look like they're going to be those 3, because they're the guys that we can fit in, and they're not affecting our apron
Salary cap.
situation.
Yeah, but I mean, I would prefer not to have rookies situational because, like I just said, during the course of the season, you really do use those situational players.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's I mean, we talked about the center position ad nauseum, but I think Mitchell Robinson and listen, Mitch, we just talking about what he can do right now, not what he can't do. I think that he's poised to have a breakthrough season. He was on that trajectory last season, and I don't see any reason why that won't continue this season. So yeah, we can get a backup center who's a little different than Mitch, so we can have that versatility. That would be great. But in terms of what Mitchell Robinson is going to do, I think he's going to be more than elite at his role. And last year, I thought he was coming along in terms of improving his defensive rebounds. We already know he's a monster on the offensive boards, but last year he got even better on the defensive boards, and I expect that to continue next season as well. What's your expectations on Mitchell Robinson? Your thoughts on what he can become next season?
Queen, and the only thing with Mitchell Robinson is we know what he could do. The only thing with him is staying healthy. If he could stay healthy, we know like he's going to help the team. Um, you know, defensively, of course, we know like we don't call him blockness monster for nothing. Even when he doesn't block, he intimidates, he alters shots, he affects the game in many, many ways. So if he could stay healthy, I definitely expect him to have a great, great season.
I think one thing that I expect is his stocks to go up. And the reason I say that is because with perimeter defenders like Bridges and OG that are so good, he's not going to have to be covering for poor wing defenders as often, and that means that he's going to be able to stay at home more and be able to get his hands on more shots in the paint. He's going to be able to get his hands on more steals. We saw that with Isaiah Hartenstein when he played alongside OG without Mikal Bridges, and I think that with that combination on the perimeter together, I think that just kind of makes that even greater. And I think with him being able to stay home more, you actually might even see his defensive rebounding percentage increase as well, because he'll be closer to the rim. He won't have to be on the perimeter as often, hopefully, because Bridges guards 1.5 guys, and so does OG Anunoby. That makes all the difference in the world, because you can put Brunson on a shooter where he doesn't have to get in his situations where he's having to deal with a really good ball handler. You can put Bridges on that person, and so you know, and I just think that he has the potential. That's what I would look for if he's healthy. I think his stocks and his defensive rebounding numbers rise to a level that's more commensurate with what we want out of our starting center. I don't think you're going to see a lot in the way of points. We don't really have a lot of, if we had a guard who threw lobs, then you might see that a little bit more. But we don't really have anybody with that in their arsenal, as far as I know. So I don't expect the scoring really to uptick all that much. Although, I would like to see 8 points instead of 5. I don't think that's unreasonable, but really, I expect his stocks to go up, and I expect just his defensive rebounding numbers to improve also.
Great point.
Hey, Captain, what is on Mitch's contract?
He's got a descending scale contract. I think he's making about $14 million this year, and I think it's $12 million next year.
Okay, but how many years is his contract, and what year is he in his contract?
So
I think he's in year 2.
no,
maybe year
he's
3.
no, he's got 2 more. So he's got the 24-25 season where he's gonna make $14 million. Then he's got the 25-26 where he's gonna make $13 million. Or 12.
Okay, so I do know he got a 4-year deal, right? That's what he got, right? What is this for? Is it any is it a player option, team option, whatever, anything?
I think it's just straight up.
No, after the 25-26 season, he's a free agent. He's unrestricted.
So it's no team option or nothing for his last year.
No.
I think he's going to be happy and motivated that he got his starting role back. He's feeling needed, and I think he's going to step right in and feel like he has something to prove. He lost his spot due to injury, and when Hartenstein got in it, he played his butt off, and the whole offense shifted and became something that it wasn't with Mitchell playing. So, but when he came back, and he did come on the floor coming off the bench, he was playing hard. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to try to get my spot back. That's where I'm looking. I was looking at it at times because I knew Hartenstein had that spot. It'll take a whole lot for him to get it back because the way the offense is clicking. But now you got enough ball players and offense on that starting lineup where it's a possibility that he can fit a little bit better with Hartenstein. Because with those guys, they should be able to pass, cut, get a rock up, and all that. And without Bridges and Josh Hart and Dante was in there without Julius, and Hartenstein was and OG. Hartenstein was really the next best thing for us, passing and facilitating. After he gets the ball from Brunson, or when it goes out of Brunson's hand and it gets in his hand. So, but now you got Bridges, you got OG, and you got Julius, and you can't forget Julius was leading us in assists before he went down. So it ain't like that the ball can't be maneuvered around the court, whereas we will miss Hartenstein. I think we got enough ball players that could cover up, the offensive sets that was dealing with Hartenstein, but even though it was without, Bridges in it. And I think he's just gonna come back and he's gonna be hungry for this season. I wanted to say maybe, if this is his last year or next to his last year with a team something or whatever, he definitely was gonna put on. or try his best to put on because he know he's playing for a new contract. You know what I'm saying? They say once you get your new contract, the next day after you get it, you start preparing for your next contract. That contract is over and done with. So Mitch needs to start preparing himself and getting in shape and getting in better shape and being able to see these seasons all the way through. You know what I'm saying? Start preparing himself for a new contract. So I'm praying that, he comes through and he does what he need to do. And go back to the same scenario. Whatever backup guy you get and bring in, make sure it's the same as Hartenstein. Because that offset it one another. That was two different looks. Or at least, if he's not Hartenstein, at least he can almost play the role like a Hartenstein that, that could catch, shoot, big pass cut, and all those different things, what Mitch doesn't do. But Mitch doesn't have to be running down extra hard on defense now with them two other wing guys. We got that best wing duo in the league. Best. And I think that's going to even motivate Mitch. What? I got these dudes and I ain't got it. What? Come on. Let's go. But yeah. And I want Mitch to go and turn up. I think he's going to turn up. And then some of me is saying, please turn up and please not just be trying to talk yourself into believing that he's going to do that. Because I really want, I see a lot for this squad. We got potential going into this season. And a lot of teams, like last year, when the injuries came, they didn't want to see us healthy. And now that Hartenstein going, a lot of them wiping their forehead. That takes a load off. God almighty. But come on, Leon, let's go. Get it and give. Get it. And he's a CA guy. So they knew what was going on with Hartenstein. And the way the world didn't know. You knew he was getting ready to leave. So even if you got to know that, so what was the issue with you going to make other moves and go get somebody for all these guys get going? That's another thing I need to know. You let all this go by, and that's your son. That's his client. What you doing? I need to be, you know what I'm saying? I need to be knowing all that. He's going, yeah. Look at the money you'll take to go. You think he's gonna take it? Okay, let me go get these other. Let me go get somebody.
Well, Jay, look, that's why we think they got something coming. They got something they already worked out. We just haven't found out yet.
Man, I think we're gonna be like we are. Whatever's gonna happen, we're gonna finally announce what's happening with this Brooklyn trade, and I think it's gonna get to the deadline, the trade deadline. That's where he does his marvelous work. He does his work. You know what I'm saying? And I can't knock it. From the last 2 straight years, it's knocked out of the park. OG and Josh. And it changed us both times. Both times it gave us a different look. We went on straight tears and run. We went like something like 11-1 with Josh and 13-3 or something, or 13 games, something, whatever it was with OG. Shoot, that man's a monster at that deadline.
Yeah. I was with you, Boogie. Just wanted a different look at that backup center, but I think Geoff said it earlier. We may have to just take what we could get. This late in the in the process. What do you guys think about now? Wendell Carter, is he on the trading block or is he a unrestricted free agent? I think he would cost a lot, though, if he is unrestricted. I don't know if the Knicks would have enough money.
Trade block.
He's on the trade block. Yeah, I don't know if the Knicks would have enough. Well, we do have that trade player exception, but we would need to add a player to that because I don't think that would be enough by itself. I would say. But what are you guys' thoughts on Wendell Carter? He's another one that's had injury issues, and I do think durability should be a priority. But thoughts on Wendell Carter?
I go real quick, man. I think he's looking for a new opportunity, a new beginning, a new Indian something, and he sees like everything is like coming towards an end over there in Orlando. He needs another look. I do believe he can come here and he can, you know what I'm saying, and get himself in gear. And I think Tom can elevate his game to go something, you know. I think Tom can elevate his game and bring it out of him. And, you know what I'm saying, let him see, yo, you still are a good ball player. You know, I just think he needs a new start, a new beginning, you know what I'm saying, get around some different type people, especially some older type players, you know what I'm saying, instead of so many young guys. There's so many young guys over there, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, a lot of young guys don't really look to like, you know, like push an older guy, you know, and even though he's not that old, but to push him and motivate him, because of the years they've been in the standard where they at far as in they league, they just, let it be known, But over here we got so much veteran, so much, so we're so veteran around amongst our team from players to, you know what I'm saying, to coaching staff, and we're still young. With Julius being 29, we 29 and down, you know what I mean, amongst this team. And that's good. But even though all them guys got a lot of years in the league and been through a lot and everything, whereas I think they can help motivate that guy and get him going, you know what I'm saying, and realize, yo, you on this team, you can help us, if you want to, push his button. And, it's one other thing I wanted to ask, before it slipped my mind, with us, with other teams, like looking at the Knicks and seeing where Hartenstein was and wanted to go and get this guy off our team, it says a lot as far as our organization and how we're doing now with our players to be wanted like that. But I still need to know, and I'm never going to be able to know, but I wish I could hear some of the phone calls that's being made far as like trying to get other players, just so I can know, how do you feel about our organization? Because I'm wondering, like, if you called somebody and you're trying to get them over here, you know what I'm saying, why we didn't get nobody that's still, after Hartenstein was gone, there was a couple of pieces out there that, hold on, let me see what the Knicks might do or what they can offer or whatever. And we're a good organization now. It's not like we some crap over here. We good now. I really would like to know, why ain't nobody looking at trying to get over here to us outside of trades? I know they called somebody. But
you mean as a free agent?
I didn't mean to change it. We stay with old boy. Y'all come back to it later on. It's just something that was on my mind.
You mean as a free agent, bro? Yes, we got it. Super chat.
So Wendell. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. We could do whatever.
Wendell Carter. Who you trading for him though? He's gonna make $12 million this coming season, and almost $11 million the one after.
Oh, he has 2 years left?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's just, there's not much we could do.
Geoff, can we do a sign and trade and use the trade player exception, or it has to be two separate?
I don't think you can stack them. I think it's one or the other. If we were going to get Wendell Carter, we'd have to send Mitch to Orlando, I think.
Nah.
Yeah, but we don't have nothing else. We don't have only ones we got on contract is we ain't got but 4 guys on contract on the bench, right? That's Duce, Dante, Josh, and Sims, right? Everything else is rough.
Yep.
So you're gonna have to deal with a Duce. You're gonna have to deal with Duce. You're gonna have to trade Duce and do something with sign and trade. You're gonna have to deal with Duce, Sims, or do a sign and trade with probably Precious, because them other guys ain't going nowhere. Dante and Josh ain't going nowhere off that bench.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me do a super chat real quick. Shout out to De La Music 50 with a $5 super chat. Says, salute to the panel. We need someone to play 60 games at the 5. Mitch only giving us 40 plus. I like Sims, but he's not the answer. Pretty much,
Agreed.
yeah, pretty much what we've been talking about, De La Music, at the early part of the show. That yeah, we all agree we do need. The problem is there's nobody out there available. Like who are you suggesting? We went through a few names of whatever's left, but the better centers are gone.
Where's Tyus at?
Who?
What's his name? Thias? Where?
Oh, Daniel Tice?
Daniel Tyus.
Yeah.
He's out there. He's unrestricted. You like him, Boogie?
Yeah, I
he's
would
on the
like
list.
him. Yeah, I would like him. I mean, he don't play in playoff wars and stuff like that. He know how to play basketball. I mean, when it comes down, I don't have many choices. I don't. The other dude went back to Orlando. I don't have many choices.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Unless old boy start tearing the building down over here in this summer league.
Who, the rookie?
Yeah, because I don't know what Sim's going to do. I don't know if, you know what I'm saying? I told him, don't come back here with the afro. I don't want to see that. You got to give something else to the table. You braided it one time and you took it right out. Yeah, I need something, Sim. I need something. I ain't talking about jumping and all that. I need, you in need right now. Shoot.
Yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out to the chat, man. 143 likes, Queen. We could stop.
All right, appreciate you.
Appreciate
We're
you.
100 short. We got 248 listener. But I appreciate everybody dropping by.
And more
That's great.
importantly, man, the messages keep flying, so they keep in the chat like hot.
That's
Right?
great.
Yeah.
All kind of discussion, arguments going on in there.
My baby got my laptop. I can't even see it, but man, that's great. That's beautiful, man. That's great, beautiful. That's how the Knick family just comes together when things happen. We just get together. It's family.
Right.
Hartenstein did what he had to do. Okay, it's time to family up right now. We're gonna figure this thing out together.
No doubt, no doubt about it. I'm with you, Bill. I felt the same way when I did the show earlier, and I think Geoff also liked Batazi too. He would have been a Tibs project that would have been or wouldn't have been as good as iHeart, but Tibs would have got the best out of him. He might have been. Listen, iHeart wasn't iHeart. He had the tools, but with playing time, he got better. I would have liked to see what Batazi could have done. And he's young too. I think he's 24, 25. But I think, that might have put a little heat on Orlando once iHeart signed that the Knicks was going to turn their attention to him. I'm guessing. I don't know. And they signed him. It wasn't a lot. 3 years, $25 million. That's not,
Man, go ahead and send 2 of these second round picks over there where Detroit and just send me Wiseman. Wiseman, hold it down into the trade deadline. Trade deadline, I'm taking Mitch, Duce, and a couple other, maybe something else, and send them to daggone Minnesota. Come here, Gobert. Come here. Come here, Rudy. Come here, Rudy. I'm sick of all this.
Rudy too soft, man. I don't want that guy over here.
I don't know about soft, but I don't want anybody that's not offensively. You got to be able to make a pass for me. You got to be able to make a pass. I'm not asking us to throw the ball down into the post. I'm not asking you to hit a 3-pointer, but I just need you to be able to hit somebody back door. I need you to be able to move the ball along on offense. That's it. I don't think that's asking a lot. And hit a free throw.
Where's Mooney at?
Who?
Ain't it Mooney? Ain't that his name?
Looney.
Looney?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Looney either. Is he a free agent?
He's under contract. You'd have to trade with Golden State, and I don't think they're in, or wherever he's at. Is he still at Golden State?
Yeah,
I don't know. I seen him working out with Kevin Durant. Looked like he was killing him.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he might be under. Listen, Golden State is now under the luxury tax, getting rid of Paul and Clay signing in Dallas, so they have options. So they might be open to trading Looney.
Yeah, he's under contract for $8 million. The last year his contract in
This is the
24,
last
25.
year?
Yeah,
But again, what are we sending out?
that's the
Second
problem.
round. Second
I
round.
appreciate you, Cowboys. Tay Cowboys. I appreciate you. Thank you for dropping by.
Oh, shout out Tay.
Salute.
Yeah. Anything else, Queen? So much for a quick 1 hour show, right?
Well, you brought it up earlier. I didn't even think about it that the 4th of July was Thursday.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have had a show. I forgot all about it. Jeremy Nussbaum, the Knicks are hard capped at the first at the first apron if the Mikal Bridges trade goes through as was initially reported. But I think there's some room for them to do something a little different. And if they send out more than they take back, that gives them a little wiggle room. So that option is still on the table.
Again, my question is, who else we're sending to Brooklyn to make up that money?
Yeah.
Who?
I
If
don't
we
know.
want to send
I
more,
think
then we taking back. But who are we sending?
Listen, I think Jay Boogie broke it down. It's a sign and trade with Burks, it's a sign and trade with Precious, or it's Duce McBride. There's just no other way around it. We can't send back multiple second round picks. Even though Sims didn't sign a minimum, his contract still is treated like a minimum contract. So we wouldn't be able to like stack the minimums and send like 2 players making $2 million. That's all you're gonna do. You're gonna sign and trade Burks. You're gonna sign and trade Precious, or you're gonna include Duce in the trade. That otherwise you're gonna be capped at the first apron, and this is gonna be your team. You're not gonna be able to fill out the roster. This is it.
Well, you'd have $5 million. You could sign one player.
Oh, you do have $5 million. Yeah. The taxpayers mid-level exception, you will have that.
But who are we going to sign?
But hold on. If you're hard capped at the first apron, you could still use that?
No, we're 5.8 million or so. I think it's 5.8 million below the first apron right now.
Okay.
It's our salary
right now.
So we can spend up to the apron. So we would be able to. We would have a little bit of money to spend. I think it may be a little bit less than the full taxpayer MLE, but I'm not sure what that number is.
So then, what does that mean? That means you sign Bridges afterwards, because if you don't amend the trade, aren't you hard capped at the first apron, or because of Hartenstein that's no longer the case?
Apron right now? So we wouldn't. We're not using an MLE. We're below the first apron, so we have $5 million, almost $6 million, that we're below the apron, so we can spend up to the $6 million, but not, or 5.8, but not over that. And we probably, with likely bonuses and stuff, can't get all the way. As we may only be able to spend like 5.5 or whatever, just to give us, because it is a hard cap, so you want to make sure that if all that stuff happens, that you have a little bit of wiggle room. But you could probably spend $5 million on a player. Now, what $5 million gets you in this market, I don't know. You wouldn't necessarily have to spend it on one player. You could add $2.5 million players, but that's pretty much vet minimum contracts at this point. So, you
and
could
Geoff,
bring in 2 veteran guys though if you wanted to.
And you can do that without even amending the trade.
Correct.
Okay. Appreciate you.
Anybody know what Dennis Smith contract is?
In Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Why, you want him, J-Bug?
He played well for Brooklyn. He's not that same He's not the same Dennis Smith Jr. that left the Knicks. I saw
Yeah.
him in Charlotte. I saw him with Brooklyn. He would be able to help, but he would be right now. He would be situational.
Right.
He would be a situational guy. The only situational guys we have right now are rookies. We need situational guys.
Yep.
So he's unrestricted, Jay Boogie. He's unrestricted.
Yeah, he got paid $2 million last season or the past season in Brooklyn. He's unrestricted.
I'm starting to wonder if and don't get mad at me, chat, because I'm just throwing something out there. Because good as he played coming off that bench and the lockdown defense that he provided, I'm just wondering if I could throw Duce in there and he comes over here and they can give us one of our picks. I want our first round picks back. I'm just wondering something.
But do you now? I like Dennis Smith Jr. in terms of the growth that I've seen over the past 2 seasons. But you would want him over Duce.
And one of them picks back. We're gonna have to do something that's gonna deal with Duce.
Let me look out for Wiz BK for Wiz's reaction.
I mean, trust me. I don't like the situation we're in, but I understand what they was trying to do. But it's made us tough. Whereas, especially we don't have nothing else to trade, and they're not messing with them Nova boys. You know that. They're not messing with them Nova guys. If they were willing to mess with some of that, this wouldn't even be as hard as what's going on now. But they only strung up because they limited they limited on the bench. And the only 2 people we got that they are capable, ain't but 3 people there they look to move that will be moved. And that's Duce, Sims, and Mitch. That's it. They ain't moving nobody else.
Yeah.
And it hurts. But right now, with him going over there to OKC and we not having the money or being in position, well, we only had him for 2 years, right? 2 years of his bird right. That hurt us. Am I right, Captain?
Yep. We only had his bird rights. We didn't have his full bird rights. That's exactly right.
So, I mean, we just, we strung tied. We shoelaces. We tied up. With just 3 guys to be able to maneuver. Everybody else is not even on the roster. Burks is not on the roster. Precious, he's not on the roster.
But you can do a sign and trade with either one of those guys.
Right.
But the only thing with that sign and trade is that hard caps use the second apron. But that's not a big deal for us because we would be hard capped at the second apron either way. So that is a method that we can use.
Right. Yeah, Robert Williams is to me, he's a Mitchell Robinson clone, including the injuries. So
they could be in the ER together.
Yeah, Knicks tape. Yeah, Robert Williams is injury prone.
Yeah.
Did he even play this past season? I didn't see much of him.
He was injured. Ooh, Christian Wood is out there. He plays soft, but he can stretch. He's a 4 though.
I do not want to be in the Christian Wood business.
He could play 5 in a pinch, but I see him as a 4.
They say Dallas got about 4 big men over there.
Yeah, I would like Kessler. We talked about him earlier in the show.
That may be the play because he's inexpensive and he fits and he checks all our boxes. Kessler does.
No,
And we so out of things that we could do. And I was mad at them guys and I was watching guys get tomatoes and everything, but just thinking about it, man, if we were playing right now, you know who they call it. You know who they call it right now. They gonna call him in there. And I don't want to see him no more. Let that man stay retired, man. I don't want to see another year. Yeah, I don't want to see another year with that man. Let him stay out of here, man. Something got to give.
No, I think Taj showed that he spent the last of the last bit of the toothpaste out of the tube with Taj.
What's the dude that came off the bench for the Pacers last year? His name, he's still out there.
No, he's gone.
No, Jalen Smith got signed by Chicago.
See, this is crazy. This is what I'm talking about with this CAA and all this. You knew all this was going on. Instead of making a move, you knew he was gone.
But I think they are, Jay Boogie. I think it's going to be a trade. I think it's going to be a trade. They had to have contingencies. It's just a matter of executing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a matter of executing them. This is a tough question, Bill, because we talked about this earlier. Duce, he may not get a lot of minutes right now, but if Bridges, let's not start. Let's stop playing. If OG gets hurt or he misses games, Devo goes into that starting lineup. Bridges moves to 3. Duce is the first guard off the bench. So if you're gonna move him for a center, who's that guard who's replacing him, basically? So that's tough. We need Kessler.
Dennis Smith
Say that
Jr.
again.
Dennis Smith Jr.
And Duce probably starts if Jalen has to miss a game too. By the way,
Yes, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. The Knicks are limited, and it just kills me when you look at all these teams. You're like, how is they signing everybody?
Crazy, right?
I'm still trying to figure out how Boston making all that money work.
But they're signing their own guys, so you could go over the cap to sign your own guys. They just signed Tatum to a $300+ million contract. They signed Derek White, I think 4 years, $126 million. Earlier, they signed Drew Holiday, but those are their own guys. So the salary cap, it will allow you to sign your own guys. You just got to pay whatever the tax is. But in terms of bringing in new guys, there's heavy restrictions on that.
And they can't.
As you reach the first or
their
second
second apron, they can't make any outside moves. That's really their only choice is to bring back their own guys. They even brought back Luke Cornett.
Right. Yeah, I saw that as well. Yeah, so we could do that, like bringing back Brunson, bringing back Randall. If we decide we want to bring back Mitch 2 years from now, like we can bring back our guys, no matter what.
As long as you have their full bird rights. If you just have their early bird rights, they get the $30 million balloon payment, and they go to
Then they go to OKC. But I think we have the full bird right
for everybody else.
For everybody else. Yeah.
If only we knew, right? We'd have signed iHeart for 3 years.
Yep.
Right.
There's no way that you expect a guy that you signed for $8 million to become a $30 million player. I'm not going to fault the front office for that. I mean, kudos to iHeart for outperforming his contract, but I mean, you just salute the guy. But I don't think you can. I don't think you can get too mad at the front office about that one.
I believe that they just was giving him enough time for Sims to develop, and it didn't happen. That's what I believe. It ain't happened. We're gonna give you 2 years, Sam. We're gonna put this money in Isaiah, and he ain't done nothing. Nothing. Brought nothing to the table.
He was the 542nd pick, so I'm not sure how much they was expected from him.
with him being that pick, you figure, you know what I'm saying, you know, he could develop into something. He developed nothing of his game. Nothing. But a higher broad jump. That's it. That's it. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. The thing about the sign and trade, Salute De La Music 50, Burks and Precious would have to agree to that. So they would have to know that they couldn't get more than that as an unrestricted free agent. And they would have to, you know, agree to go to wherever this team is that the Knicks wants to send them, because they're unrestricted. So they would have to agree to it.
And I don't think Burks is looking to go to Brooklyn. Just be honest. Like, at his age, probably wants to go to a contender.
Right.
If he
I
can.
think it's $4 million, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, we good. Like, and you know, so Queen, there's no show Thursday, right?
No show Thursday. We might have an emergency
An emergency, yeah.
podcast, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, depending on what goes down. I really do believe that the Knicks are going to sign a center or make a move, or even two, over the next week.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, man? Salute to the chat. Salute to the chat. Stayed hot throughout the whole show. Queen,
Yeah, no doubt.
The chat was having their own show on the site, man. They're having their own stuff.
We got 261 listening. That's what I see right now. Appreciate you.
261, 164 likes, and thank you. And don't forget to share, you know, share this on your social media and all your platforms. Let everybody know, man. We do this over here. Bring more people to the channel.
This is how bad it's getting. What is Boban doing?
Keeping the bench from flying up. That's what Boban is doing.
This is like crisis mode. If you asking what Boban is doing. We are not making. Nobody is talking about making a trade just to make a trade. We're making a trade to see if we can make the team better. Right now we're 8 deep, 9 deep. That center position is precarious. You know, with Mitchell Robinson's injury and Sims just non-development. I would put more money on Mitchell Robinson staying healthy than I would on Sims developing, quite frankly, into something more than he is right now. So there's nothing wrong. We don't have any situational players. All our situational players, if you look at the depth chart, seems to be our rookies. So if somebody gets hurt or misses a game, we got to play our rookies. If you have championship aspirations, I'm not sure that's something you want to do. I think you want to have multiple injuries before you have to reach into your rookie pool, not one injury. You know what I mean? And now a rookie is playing. So yeah, we'll see.
I got me a Jayhawk finally on the Knick team. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And he can ball too. McCullough Jr. can ball.
That's what I heard.
If he got hurt, he'd have been first rounder, but
yeah,
he had that bone bruise on his knee. Now, how is his knee? Can you tell? Do you know anything? Is he like back to basketball stuff, or is he still rehabbing and stuff? Do you know?
I think he's out of rehab. He could have. They didn't even try to bring him back at the end of the season because our season was a wash. It was a wash, and it's sad to say, but our coach even said that the season is over with before it was even over with. So he's going to be suiting up this summer league.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the summer league. I want to see the point guard too, Kolick, I think, right? Yeah. And I don't know about that center though. I don't know if that. We'll see.
Bakhtiari?
Yeah.
Queen,
And
I
he's
got
German. Hartenstein
from
was German. You never know.
from Bill. Did you guys consider Steven Adams trade? That's a good question. We didn't talk about Steven Adams. I mean, he is
He's
under contract, but who you trading?
injured too, and what are we going to trade for him?
What
Same
we
boat.
doing?
Who you sending
What are
out
you
for
going to
him?
trade for him?
The same. Sign and trade. Duce Robinson. That's it. That's all you. That's all you have.
But with Adams' injuries, you can't
Yeah,
make that.
he's another
You're
one.
not gonna
He's
be-
another one.
That doesn't put you. That puts you in the same spot you're in. You can't. We can't make a
Right.
trade just to be stuck
Right.
in the same situation we're in. We've got to make. You're gonna you include assets. It's got to be to get better, not to put yourself in
But
the same boat.
but this is the thing though. I know Steven Adams was injured last year, but I don't think he has a reputation for being injury prone, does he?
No, the guy
No.
is like the guy is a tree trunk. He's a Mack truck.
Yeah, he was injured last year, but I don't know if he has a I don't know if that's his MO.
I don't know. Again, I don't think we have, unless you're wanting to swap Adams for Mitch. I don't think a deal can happen. And I don't.
Right.
I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but I think that's reshuffling deck chairs. I don't think that's.
Man, we missed out on Plumlee. Oh man, we missed out on all. What? Yes.
Sorry, I don't miss Plumlee's. I don't care which one. I don't care if it's Mason. I don't care if it's Miles. I don't care if it's Marshall. I don't care if it's Michael. Whatever M word you want to put with the Plumlee, I don't miss it.
Why though?
I'm just not a fan of the Plumlees at all. I think they're
Which one played for us for like 2 minutes? We had one of them.
Mason. Was it Mason?
Yeah,
It wasn't Mason. That's the one that was just in Dallas. I mean, just in L.A. Now he just went to Phoenix. Wasn't him.
Okay.
I don't know. They're all the same person to me. I've never seen them all in the same room at the same time. So I'm just convinced it's the same person. They just wanted more eligibility at Duke, so they changed their name.
Yeah, I'm good with Nick Richards. I'm good with Walter. If we got Wagner, Nick Richards, or Walter Kessler,
Yeah.
I would be happy with any of those. Yeah, he got a hook shot. All right. If the next trade for him, I'll get some tape. I ain't gonna watch no tape just to get myself all worked up, and then he signed. He get traded somewhere else, you know.
And see, that's the thing, like when 6 o'clock came and they had their meeting and everything, and they didn't do anything, I was like, you know what? We got a chance. They didn't sign him. And then, like 2 o'clock or whatever morning it was, with Paul George, it went along. I'm like, man. Now I woke up this morning and it was like, I'm checking the phone. I'm like, okay, we got a chance, because most guys want to board you up when you come in there. They want to make sure you don't leave. Man, by like 9:30, I got that alert.
I was the same way, bud. I was like, oh man.
I said, what happened, man? I thought you changed your mind. Oh man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of simoleons.
Yeah. I mean, they have to see him as a final piece. I don't think any center in today's NBA, other than Embiid or the Joker, is worth $29 million. It's just a guard wing type league. But they saw him, with Chet where he is, being light and frail. I wouldn't say frail, just being light. They felt like he would be perfect for them, and they overpaid to make it happen. And I think also part of the overpay was to get him away from the Knicks. They knew like a extra 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 million was not going to do it.
That's right. That's right. Presti's no dummy. He knew that
Right.
that was the offer that it would take, and he knew that he had it, and he knew that he wasn't probably going to get to spend that money on anything else. So why not?
The
Yeah.
smart ones are the ones over there in Philly. Those are the smart ones. And I don't think their brains is like that, the maneuver like that, like it is. What's his name? The dude that he been on
Boy,
TV, that just came from Golden State, that was working in the office
Myers.
for Golden
Myers.
Oh, Myers.
Myers. You know, he's in the office for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in the office for. I know for a fact he was giving them pointers about how to do certain things. I know they would call him and ask him for certain pointers. Yeah, for them guys raised the banner up on us with OG. They raised the banner. They set the table for us not to be able to have money to do anything else. They made sure if we're not going to get them, we're going to make you spend that bread. And that's exactly what we did with that $212 million 5 year. Yo, because they was going to get him. Yeah. And they let it be known they were going to spend that bread too. They were going to spend that bread and go get OG. And Lord knows if they came with OG and Paul, God Almighty. Hey, thank you. Hey, my man, before we leave the show, my man, shout out to my man. Oh, dang, I can't even think of his name. Shout out to my man Clay over there at Golden State. Thank you for going to Dallas. Lord knows, if he'd have went to Philly, God. Woo. If Clay would have went over there to Philly with PG, then they would have had some real fireworks for me to feel, kind of funny about.
Right.
I'm glad he went to Dallas. Yeah. Thank you. And that trade is on hold. They don't put that. Chris Haney broke it down today and said, I hate to put things out there and it's not all the way done and it's not solid. But Golden State alerted him and said they're nowhere near with completing that trade. So man, I don't know. I need somebody to pull what's his name? I need somebody to pull a Morris twin, like he did in the San Antonio Spurs and said, nah, I ain't good. I want to go to New York. Yo, shout out to both when he said that in San Antonio, man. You don't tell a great organization like that. What we had going, we won't even know we're good culture-wise how we are. He told the San Antonio Spurs, nah, I changed my mind. I want to go to New York.
I had forgotten that, but you're right. He did.
Sure did.
Morris twins,
Don't sleep on Ariel. Yeah. Ja 3 or JA3. We not sleeping on him, but I would be surprised if he gets minutes this season. Anything is possible though.
If he's getting big time minutes, odds are something went very wrong.
For real.
Well, or some went very right. It could be we blowing a team out.
I'm talking hashtag meaningful minutes though. Like if
Reese Anderson. I'm wondering, are you the one? I don't know. Maybe 6 months ago, somebody was in the chat.
That was him. That was Reese.
It was him talking about how his Nick Richards per 36 minutes was just as good as iHeart, and we should keep an eye on him. Was that you, Reese?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was him.
And he was like, I'm serious. This guy per 36 is similar to iHeart. He's gonna break out. So if that was you, my apologies, because I was definitely trolling that night. And you're right, Now whether he will turn into a iHeart with more minutes remains to be seen. He's a little he's a little up and down.
Inconsistent,
yes. Inconsistent.
All right, Queen. What else? What else you got? J
That's
Bug.
it. That's
Jeff?
it.
What we got?
I'm finished.
Have a
We can
great
do last
4th of
word.
July, everybody.
Make sure you keep
Stay
your
safe.
your notifications on in case something pops up. Like that way when we start a show, you'll know. You get the notification. You can jump on. Right. Otherwise, happy 4th, and have a good one.
Appreciate you, Ajay, Jeff,
Yes, indeed.
Jay Boogie.
Yes,
Appreciate
family.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?